Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here Sunday morning after a very a loss to the Miami Heat. Listen, yesterday was a scheduled loss. Like in some ways, the game against Brooklyn and the game last night were very much set up by the NBA schedule for us to fail. Obviously, like having such a quick turnaround from Friday night to last night, they were saying all through the broadcast, Jack Armstrong kept saying they didn't get in till 4 a.m. Well, that's a problem. That is definitely a problem. Now, one of the things they said about our schedule this year is that it's a very easy schedule, that we have one of the easiest schedules in the league. Well, the hardest part of the schedule is right now, y'all. We need to realize this right now. And I think most of y'all do realize this, that we're taking a big lump of our schedule, a really bad part of it. And we're playing it right now, right? 3 games in, because it will get easier. This may have been the toughest, like back to back we have all year in some ways. Because it's messed up. They shouldn't do this turnaround. And now we're off today. They should have had the first game today, not yesterday, and do it back to back Sunday, Monday night. But yeah, no, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They probably have Disney on Ice in the Miami Arena tonight or something. And that's why they can't do it tonight. Or maybe it's a hockey game. It could be that the Panthers are playing in the arena or something like that. I don't know. Last night made me angry. Yeah. That's why I'm wearing the Angry Beaver shirt. That's why I'm like, what the? Yeah. All right. Let me read your comments and then we'll get into this and we'll talk about this. A lot to talk about. And I really hope, like, this is one thing I want to happen today, NBA. If you want to right the injustices of last night with you ejecting our rookie, Christian Koloko, when he did not deserve to be ejected, you need to suspend Caleb Martin for some games. And you don't need to delay on suspending him. You need to do it today so that the suspension will actually benefit the team that had a detriment from it. This is the crazy thing. We're playing them twice. So anything that they did last night, we should get the benefits of any suspensions. And I'm going to tell you one thing, that they need to review that tape and look and see who off their bench came off their bench towards that little scuffle. Because they need to be suspended also, because that's the rules. You come off the bench, you're not even in the game, and you come off the bench, and that means that line at this point, it's like, all right, you step on the court, you step on the sideline, you came towards it, you need to be suspended also. And way that looked like in the replay, it looks like about 4 Miami Heat off the bench needs to be suspended also for coming off the bench during that altercation. Those are the rules. Let's see if the NBA actually enforces these rules. They may not, because it's Toronto and all this stuff. Now, Spoelstra's saying in his interview after the game, oh, Malik did a really good job holding our guys off, coming off the bench. He's doing a little damage control already. Well, we'll see if the video evidence actually supports that, Eric Spoelstra. You better watch this Kane Fitzgerald. You better watch this Joe Dumars. And you better be swift with your judgment, because we're playing them tomorrow. And it's only right, if y'all are going to suspend any Miami Heat players for this incident last night, that they get suspended for a game against us, because then it's fair. And it's like, normally you don't play the same team again. And the team that had the infraction against them doesn't see any benefit from it. Another team gets the benefit of a player being suspended. Well, let's do this right, NBA. Get some whatever decisions you're going to make. Do it this afternoon. And so we know somebody's not going to be playing tomorrow, because that's what's right in this situation. Caleb Martin is a goon. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with twins in the NBA, but if you're a twin in the NBA, you're more likely to be a goon. I don't know if Justin's a goon. Maybe he is. He tried to fight PJ Washington. But we got the Lopez goons, we got the Morris goons, and now we got the Martin goons. And I have no respect for Caleb Martin. You're on my list now. You are actually one of the most hated people in Raptors fandom now because of your shit. This paints a whole other different light to what happened with Scotty and Caleb last year. He did push you, Scotty. You're being a nice guy. You're not seeing the real person. Maybe you saw him a little bit more last night, and maybe you're reflecting back on that incident with Caleb Martin where he pushed you into that woman with the beer in the front row last year. That looks a whole lot different today in the light of what happened last night. The incident with Caleb Martin pushing Scotty Barnes dirty on the way out of bounds where he could have hurt him. Yeah. Now we understand a little bit more. Yeah, maybe that was intentional, that he was trying to hurt our rookie of the year last year when he pushed him into the front row of the Miami Heat arena last year. Well, we see. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I have no respect for that kid, and he has receipts coming to him. I love what Precious said after the game last night. He said in his interview that we weren't going to let them punk us. And he meant that. And you saw a new energy from the Raptors. Why couldn't we have this energy right from the start? You know what? You need to act like Caleb Martin did some dirty shit to Christian Koloko. Every single game we can play them from now on. Just remember this incident, Fred VanVleet. Just remember this incident, Precious Achiuwa, Chris Boucher, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. See what they did, how they tried to punk our 7'1" Cameroonian rookie center, standing over him, looking down on him like that. That's right, Precious. If you don't let people do that, and we've all backed him up and said the same thing. If somebody does something like that, you stand up for yourself. And all he did was literally stand up for himself, and he got tossed. Well, what happened with that situation is obviously that wasn't fair, that Christian got ejected also. And in some ways, that's calculating. Other teams can target, like Dennis Rodman used to certain players, and try and get them ejected by getting under their skin or doing things like that. This is not good, NBA. Y'all need to come down on Caleb Martin for his behavior, and you need to kind of justify and rectify why you threw out Christian Koloko last night. Now, listen, that was not right. He should not have been thrown out. In fact, those referees were awful. That was the Howdy Doody show with those idiots out there. Jason Goble's face looked like it was about to bust at one moment, so red and irritated. He looked so red and irritated, Jason Goble. But did you notice something after that incident happened? Did you notice something other than we had some gumption and we were playing our asses off? The referees were actually calling everything for us after that. You know why? Because they realized they fucked up when they threw him out, that it was wrong for them to do that. So they were like, all right, we need to make makeup calls for the Raptors for the rest of the night. And they did. They started calling everything for us after that. That's how you can tell the referees really can decide how they want to call the game and do it whatever way. They felt bad because they knew they fucking got it wrong when they threw out Koloko. And they're like, oh, we got, you know what, we got to make up for this. We got to, we got to give them this. We got to give them this. And they gave us every single fucking call after that. Fred had 5 fouls. He played 21 minutes with 5 fouls. He never fouled out. And then he's like, listen, I didn't even know this, but here's a crazy stat. Fred has never fouled out of an NBA game ever. So he was walking that tightrope, that tight wire last night with 5 fouls out there still playing and stuff. I love you, Freddie. And you really did spearhead that movement after that fight to, yeah, we're not fucking taking this shit. You saw Fred start playing in a different way after that out there. The way he got aggressive, the way he bombed that corner three and stuff like that. Yeah, y'all need to remember this for tomorrow night. And you need to bring this energy that you showed after the incident happened last night to fucking really beat down the Heat. Now, I'm going to say this again. This was a scheduled loss. The NBA wanted us to lose this game when the schedule makers made this game. This had nothing to do with anything. This is what they're doing to us right now. They're giving some good feelings to teams that aren't that fucking good in the Eastern Conference. These teams aren't that good. Brooklyn is not a complete team or a very good team. They need help to win. And Miami, same fucking thing. They needed help to win this game last night. They're pathetic. They lost to the Bulls. They lost to the Boston Celtics. They've been at home all time. Sure, they're supposed to win this game yesterday. They were set up to win it. They were set up on a silver platter. Here you go, Miami Heat. Here's the Toronto Raptors all tired and after playing in Brooklyn last night. Here, and we'll even help you with the refs. So this was a scheduled loss. We all need to remember that today. So I don't want to hear anybody pointing fingers at any of the Raptors for what happened last night. We were gutsy. We showed some moxie. We showed some, like, we're not fucking putting up with this shit. I'm proud of our guys. We may have lost, but hey, we fucking lost by 3 points after we were down by 24 in the middle of the game. And that's impressive. That is impressive. And we could have almost won that game. In fact, I could dissect it and say, oh, we could have done this and this. If this had just happened, we could have won the game. But I don't want to be nitpicky because the fact that they did what they did to get to that point is really impressive enough to me. And as I said, it was a scheduled loss. And if we could have won the game, then it would have thwarted that whole NBA scheduled loss, because that was very much a scheduled loss. That turnaround from Brooklyn, flying down there, getting in the hotel just a quarter before 4 o'clock. Then when are these fucking guys are sleeping? When are they sleeping? They're going to bed at 5 in the morning. Maybe they slept on the plane a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, Miami, you need a weakened opponent. You need somebody beat down. Y'all been sitting at home all week in Miami all week, playing a couple of home games, getting your home crowd feel up. Well, nobody's at the fucking game last night. They lied on the box score. They said that you had 100% attendance. That is bullshit. There was not 100% attendance. It was pathetic how much people were at that game last night supporting the Miami Heat. Pathetic. Y'all don't have no crowd in that building. And man, there's some messed up culture around Miami Heat team too. All right, let me start reading y'all's comments. We got a lot to talk about, sure. And we will talk about the game and not as so much of the incident. I just want to make sure we talk about that first. But NBA, you better be suspending some Miami Heat players for the game tomorrow. Caleb Martin for sure. And you better look at that footage for the bench guys and see who actually left the bench. Because every single person that was in that scrum from our team was on the court already. They had their jerseys on. They weren't in warm-ups. And we were right by your bench. And some people got a little froggy off that Miami Heat bench. Y'all need to go see who it was. And yeah, do according things. You know, John Achiuwa got over there real quick to protect Christian Koloko. And thank God. You saw Fred VanVleet get up on top of that pile real quick to protect Christian Koloko, because these dudes really like Christian. Christian, you handled yourself with such grace and dignity in such a stupid ass situation. Well, you obviously got under Caleb's skin. Obviously, you're a problem for him. That's the thing. He showed himself. If this is the art of judo, that he fucked up because he came at you and you stepped to the side. And that's what I'm saying. What a goon, man. He tried to spear him into the front row of the arena. That is a wrestling move. That is a dangerous move. You can cause an internal injury to somebody running your shoulder into someone like that. That's what Goldberg used to do to people. The spear. That's a wrestling move. NBA, you are not WWE. You need to go down and come down hard on him. That's just as bad as a punch. Going like that, what he tried to do, ramming him into the front row. He pissed Caleb Martin off because he couldn't do nothing with him. He got that rebound and he pushed him over, and then boom, Koloko's falling, so he grabbed his shoulder, and then boom, he's like, oh, he's pissed. He's walking over him like, who the fuck are you, Caleb Martin? I bet you most of these Raptors would beat your ass. Seriously, in real life, if we had some sort of UFC or anything like that, they would beat your sorry little Martin ass. So, yeah, who the fuck are you? You want to fight Christian Koloko? Well, let's go do it. Let's get, as Raymond Jacobs says, Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get some gloves on y'all, and let's see how you do with that wingspan of a 7-foot man that's going to fucking punch you in the face. Yeah, you're number one now. You got some draggage hate now, bro. Yeah, Caleb, you got some draggage hate now, bro. That's what you get. Yeah, and you get 2 games in Toronto coming up. You're going to get it from us up here. Oh, yeah, and I will bet you money. It may happen tomorrow night. You're going to get some receipts from some Raptors teammates if you do get to play. But I hope you don't, because you do deserve to get suspended. In fact, I think the NBA should suspend you for multiple games. Make an example out of you, that we do not tolerate that kind of behavior. Lording over someone who's sitting on the ground, instigating a fight by doing that. And then you were the one who did all the fighting. Our guy did not do anything to you. He stood up. His arms are long. You think he's trying to get up. His arms are going to go all over the place. It may look like he was trying to get you. Maybe he wanted to defend himself a little bit because he looked like you might have hit down on him. This is the thing, NBA. This looks really bad. And don't poo-poo this, because this is the Toronto Raptors. Y'all need to take care of this situation seriously and come down hard on it. Because if you want to set a tone for this season, you want to have this kind of shit happening in every other game around the NBA where people are just like, yeah, I'm going to stand over you and do this shit. You need to punish him and make an example out of him. Or there's going to be more of this shit this season, and it may get out of control. Those refs couldn't do jack shit. Those howdy doody show. That was a howdy doody show with you little howdy doody motherfuckers, all under 10 years. You guys had no control of the game last night. Yeah, we needed a 20-year ref. We needed a 30-year ref because y'all fucked up. Y'all are fucking idiots. Tyler Ford, who the fuck are you, man? You little howdy doody ass. What the fuck is going on with that? Those Miami Heat refs were helping them at the beginning of the game too, until the incident. And then they were like, "Oh, we better help the Raptors because we just threw out the guy for wrong. It was wrong for us to throw him out." They knew that was wrong for throwing him out. Why the fuck? How can you sit there and watch the video for that long? And like, this is the thing that mystifies me is like they had the video replay. They can watch it over and over again. In fact, they did this twice last night. They watched the incident and they got it wrong with how they threw him out, Koloko. And then they watched the challenge call with Fred and Kyle. And they said that Fred moved underneath Kyle. He did not move. Kyle jumped out at him. And then they didn't even reverse that call either. So they were seeing things with their own two eyes, and they're still getting the fucking call wrong, even when they review it. Oh my gosh. Really horrible refs last night. Really, really bad refs for sure. And Goebel, I knew he had egg on his face. After that incident, he changed. His demeanor changed a lot. He was very red in the face. You could tell he's like, we fucked up. And like he was trying to make up for it. That literally is why we got all those calls afterwards. And that is the goddamn proof that you can change, the refs can change and do things as they wish in how they ref the game. Is that's the proof. Right after the game, everything changed for the calls for us. We started getting calls. We started having things go in our favor. It's amazing how that happens. Like that, isn't it? It's very telling and different and weird. All right, Raymond's saying first half was cringe. We didn't play well in the first half, but listen, once again, we're tired. And Nick was forced to play the bench this game last night. Thank God. He really was going to play the starters overplay them again last night. But injuries happen. I hate seeing Scotty get hurt like that. I really do. The fight happened. Different things happened. So he had to play people like Malachi and Thaddeus and later in the game. And I'm glad he did because it was actually really good. We saw Thad Young hit a couple floaters in the lane late in the game and do good things. We saw Malachi hit a couple threes. This is great, Nick. Use your bench. Mix and match starters with your bench. It's the best formula for you for winning. And that was a part of coming back and closing that score was with those kind of guys on the court. So don't be afraid to use them. I know everybody's saying, we need the absolute best team. They were saying it at the beginning of the broadcast last night, Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin. Actually, I felt like they were retorting me from my preview and my criticism of the Brooklyn game. They're saying, you need to have your best players out there at all times to have the best chance to win. Bullshit. You can mix the best players with your okay players and get by better. It's made smarter. I don't understand the logic of y'all. When I play NBA 2K games, I want the freshest guys out there. When you get a certain point, their bar is a certain place, they don't move as fast. They don't move as quick. They don't have the burst. Well, won't you want the guy who has the burst, the next guy out there? It's not that much different in how good they are. Precious is not that far off from the starting five. It's like, what the fuck? Come on, seriously. And in fact, Precious is my number one star for last night. Precious was amazing last night. He shot way better last night. We saw him taking little short jumpers where he would dribble and he'd stop mid-range and then stop and pop. And he made them. He made them consistently. He was 5 for 9 last night. He was 2 for 5 for 3-pointers. He did hit a corner three, a couple of threes there, really nice. He hit all of his free throws except for the last free throw at the very end of the game. The one where he needed to make the free throw and then missed the second one so they could kick it out for the 3 to try and still win. He missed that one, the one that was most important, but I'll give him a pass because he shot so well with the free throws so far this season and stuff like that. And it's too bad. But he had a double-double, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, only 1 turnover and 1 foul, a plus 16, Precious Achiuwa. And in some ways, he was like, you ain't punking us. Did you also see what Tyler Herro did to him in the middle of the game, too? Yeah, they were very disrespectful, the Miami Heat last night. It's like Kyle Lowry's being charming and palling around with everybody at the beginning of the game and being playful and talking a little smack and doing all that kind of stuff. He was talking smack to Precious, actually, in the middle of the game. Precious was such a badass last night. Tyler Herro talking shit to him. He did something like he pointed at his ankle or something like that. when he made a basket on Precious. Now this makes me think, like, were these guys cool when they were teammates when Precious was in his rookie year? Because they played together, but it seems like he doesn't like Precious and Precious doesn't like him because Tyler Hero's pointing to his ankle. And then Precious scored on him, and he said this. He said, "You're this short." He held his hand like on the ground like this. And I was like, Precious, you go. You're a badass, man. You just showed me some New York edge. You just showed me something about you and your attitude, and like you don't get punked. And I love that so much. So number one star by far, Precious Achiuwa last night, just for the attitude, just for the standing up, just saying we ain't gonna get fucking punked, and playing really well also. So good job, Precious. So proud of you. And your after game interview was just right on point. He said, "Look, I had to understand what Christian did there. He didn't do anything wrong, and I would have done the same thing. You don't just sit there and let a man stand over you like that. You did that. You get up and you get in his face." And that's what I'm saying. And it's like, Raymond, we don't want any more wrestling kind of stuff in basketball. It has no place. And that's why I'm saying, look, you suspend Caleb Martin for his spear and his stupid shit last night. Yeah. Lolita's saying to Mo, I don't see the Mo comment, so I'm just going to see that she's agreeing with Lolita, with Monique. Martin should be suspended. He instigated the whole situation by standing over Koloko. It's disrespectful. Koloko did the right thing. He really did try to do the right thing, and he's a rookie. After the game, he's mystified. I don't know what I did to this guy. I don't even know him. I don't know Caleb Martin. Well, maybe Caleb Martin just doesn't like your long limbs and how you can get rebounds, and you were frustrating him. It's amazing how quickly you made him frustrated. I think Caleb Martin's got anger problems in his life anyway. Something's wrong with that guy. But he is a thug. He's a goon, and I hate him at this point. You are on my list of hated people in this league, Caleb Martin. You will be forever now. And we're going to let you know in Toronto. You're going to find out. And you're not even that good of a player. Like, I hate this when it's just like kind of scrubby players. Oh, man, he better get suspended. You're right, Lolita. Also, Lolita is saying, notice all Raptor players playing were around protecting Koloko. They got his back. Raptors chemistry is well and good. Even Kayla was in the mix. Laugh out loud. Kyle's funny. I can't hate Kyle, but he's annoying because he's kind of like the charmer of this asshole group that he's with now. And listen, this is another thing. A part of the reason why we couldn't win last night, even though we got it close, is look, we get that margin down. We spent so much energy closing that 20-point margin. Now we have to beat Jimmy and Kyle in a late game situation. Fuck. It's like we had to play Kyrie and Kevin the night before in a late game situation. That's no fun. These are not the people you want to be in a close game with at the end of the game and coming from behind. Kyle Lowry, we know. We've seen what he does in late game situations and how he knows how to win a game at the end. And him and Jimmy Butler are not a pairing that you want to be on that side of it. That's why you want to be ahead of them at the end and playing from up top and trying to hold them back instead of coming back on them. Because that experience closing games out with a coach like Spoelstra, it's just kind of really impossible in some ways. But we got really damn close. I mean, it's crazy how close we got within the minute of the game and how things kind of got a little scary for Miami. And, they were talking about after the game, the Miami fans and the press were saying, do you feel bad about how you gave up such a huge lead like that? And he's like, yeah, I'm scared. And that's the thing. Miami's a shitty team. I'm not going to lie. They're very bad, and they're going to lose a lot this year. We gave them a break. This really was a scheduled loss to help them look good. They're 0-2. They needed this win so badly. And this is very similar to how Brooklyn needed their win on Friday night. So go ahead, schedule some losses for the Raptors to help these other teams feel good at the beginning of their season. Go ahead and get it out of the way now. This won't hurt us. We're gonna stand proud and strong and move forward from this. And hopefully the easier parts of our schedule, how things go forward from now, we just got rid of one of the worst back-to-backs of the season. Yeah, one of the worst. Like, this is a horrible back-to-back. Seriously, these cities aren't even close to each other, Brooklyn and Miami. It's so messed up. All right, Logicals, counting it down. And Tom Duke is here. Let's see what Tom Duke is saying. Martin definitely incited that. Koloko is a beast and a problem for teams. It's only game number 3. We arrived at 4 a.m. in Miami for a back-to-back and lost another close one. Bully revenge game Monday. We do need to get revenge. Seriously, I ain't going down another game tomorrow. Y'all need to do this, Raptors. Have some pride. Stand up for Koloko. Let's see how the dust settles from the incident last night as far as the NBA head office. And hopefully we can come in there and kick their ass. Now, some early news about the game tomorrow. Chris Boucher will be ready for the game tomorrow. We will see Chris Boucher play in the second Miami game. Meanwhile, Scotty is already ruled out. But I want to say this, and this is what we're hearing on Lewinberg. Lewinberg's Twitter, he's got the doctor, Ali Renley, on there. And she's saying, would take that to be a good sign that Scotty grabbed his midfoot and not his ankle initially. A mild foot sprain for him would be an easier and quicker rehab than ankle, especially given his recent ankle issues over the summer. And Eric Kareem was saying late last night, don't take this for a medical report, but Barnes is walking around in flip-flops in the locker room, limp, not too notable, no wrap or no boot. So this is the thing. I don't think Scotty's that hurt. I think that it just scared him. It hurt real bad in that moment. And it is true. He was holding his foot. But what an amazing play that he hurt himself on. That, like I said, we're seeing more and more just how deadly and dangerous he is. We saw him bully ball in the beginning of the game. Everything he made last night at the beginning of the game was right next to the basket. It was mostly just dunks and just really quick, short little hooks and stuff like that, and lay-ins. And it's too bad that he got hurt like he did, because his points per minute was really crazy last night. He only played 13 minutes before he got hurt, and he had 11 points. He was 5 for 9, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. He was playing very well. In fact, he was dominating right next to the basket. They were missing dunks in the beginning of the game. It was silly. Like, I can't believe some of the bunnies that they missed. Scotty missed a bunny himself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Scotty, you missed that dunk. What are you doing? It's too bad. They weren't exactly sharp at the beginning of the game. And there's many reasons why they could have been not exactly sharp, obviously, from the travel the night before and stuff like that. But yes, hopefully this news about Scotty walking around not looking like he's limping, he's in flip-flops, is good. He may just miss this second Miami game, and maybe he's good to go for Philadelphia. I don't know. But they are saying that he's going to be held out for tomorrow, probably, for sure. So, but who knows? It could be the kind of thing where he says tomorrow he feels even better. And he's like, coach, just play me. Because he's that kind of guy. He's so young. He's so healthy that, like, he can bounce back, like we saw in the playoffs with Philly, from his crazy, horrendous ankle injury. That quickly he came back and played. So I don't think this is that bad. It is scary when we see him on the floor holding his foot. But, he's a tough kid, and he's very healthy, and he can heal really quick. Trust me. Heal real quick. Tom Duke's saying, I'm proud of our team and know they will get the kinks sorted. These aren't even kinks. I mean, I understand our offense is ugly, but there's all kinds of good things happening with it also. I think one of the things I'd like to see the Raptors do more in their offensive coaching, in their scheme, is to really do the in and out. That it really was cool to see last night, them get the ball into the paint, but then kick it out. Like, sometimes teams make this like a rule. It's like, you guys need to get the paint touch and then get it, either the shot in the paint, if you get it and it's easy, or kick it out immediately. If we worked on maybe that in out motion, we go down low and then quickly right back out. A lot of teams do that. We might be really good at that, because we did that a bit in the game last night, and it was very successful. You get that attention in the paint with a big body like Scotty Barnes trying to attack the rim, all of a sudden everybody collapses on him, and there's somebody on the perimeter that's going to hit a three. So I want to see that more. That get in the paint, draw the attention, and kick it out to the open three, because that's really a lot of what the Celtics do. They got Jason Tatum going in the paint, Jaylen Brown, and then boom, they kick it out to Marcus Smart or whoever's available outside for a three and stuff like that. We could do that more. And we did that a little bit last night. So it was pretty cool. Let's see. Kareem Harry Canary Thomas is saying, we can point the finger at plenty of things we're doing wrong, but we can't keep fucking shooting ourselves in the fucking foot with these 6 to 8 minute brain farts and expect to climb out of it. Yes, Kareem, specifically the end of the second quarter last night. Nick Nurse talked about in his interview after the game that, we really dug a hole for ourselves in that last little bit there. We could not score, and we let them score like crazy, and all of a sudden they had a really good lead at halftime. Yeah, that sucks. We can't do that. You're exactly right. And I don't know how exactly to stop that kind of stuff. It really is like we stall our offense and the other team is just still scoring. Our defense was not sharp in the first half last night. Look at how many points the Miami Heat scored in the first half last night. They had 70 points at halftime. They had 71 points at halftime. That is not fucking good Raptors defense. If a team has 71 points on us, and a lot of it was they did have some good 3-point shooting last night, but it wasn't too super special. I mean, Max Strus was annoying. He scored way too many points last night, but we actually beat them at the 3-point line. We had 14 threes, they had 11. They shot better than us, but not by much. We made one less field goal than them, but we got 9 more field goal attempts. We got more free throw attempts, but we missed more free throws than them. We missed 7 free throws. They only missed 2. They had 27 free throws. We had 28. So we only made 21 points off free throws, where they made 25 off free throws. And that is a 4-point difference. And that is more than the difference in the game. So making free throws is so important, Raptors. Protect the ball and take care of the ball and like want to not turn over the ball, but also want to make your free throws. We got out rebounded by them. That is a team we do not deserve getting out rebounded by because they are not a big team. They're a short team. They're small. How the fuck did they out rebound us last night? That's all get up and go and getting after it. And a lot of that was probably in the first half that they built that rebounding lead. Our assists were pretty good. We got 24 assists, just one off my goal to get to 25 every game. So that's actually pretty good. Really good steals and blocks compared to them. We did turn them over a lot. They had 16 turnovers and we only had 6. And that was really important. But once again, they won the rebounding and they won the points in the paint. And I'm mystified by that as far as our personnel versus their personnel. Sure, Bam Adebayo, maybe some of that, but who the fuck else is doing stuff in the paint for them that they would beat us in the paint like that? So we didn't have good defense last night, especially in the first half. Now, in the second half, it was a little bit better. And we did play way better in the second half and stuff like that. But it was tough. That was just a tough game in all kinds of different ways and stuff like that. But I agree with you, Kareem. We can't afford to have those kind of periods. And when we're having those kind of periods, that's when I want, Nick to look to the bench and say, maybe I should put Delano in. Maybe I should put Christian in. Maybe he'll help or whatever situation's going on and who's not out there that could possibly help with what's going on, stuff like that. Now, one of the things that happened in the game last night is we had a very much a wave of like whoop, 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 whoop with Gary Trent Jr. last night. At the beginning of the game, he was hitting a lot of stuff and everybody loved him. Well, then he went cold and everybody hated him. And then he started hitting them again and everybody loved him. And then he went cold and everybody hated him and stuff like that. On Twitter, they're like that on and off with Gary Trent Jr. Stop, y'all. Realize he is a streak shooter and he's going to have his hot and cold. And we just need to accept that he's going to miss sometimes, but he's going to make a lot of times too. And that's just the nature of the NBA. People's shooting percentages are around 45% most in the NBA, or just like between 30 to 50%, somewhere in there. That means there's a whole 50% of shots that don't get made. So listen, Gary missing shots is not a big deal, y'all. Y'all need to stop coming down on him and getting crazy about him. He is doing a good job for us. He's scoring points for us when we need them scored really badly. And that is important. I don't care if he misses some shots or he looks bad or, like, oh my gosh, he missed that. Or so let him shoot with impunity and let him do it as much as possible. He will get back in the groove. But we have to realize he's going to be a streak shooter. He's going to be hot and cold within a game. Like last night, he'll be very hot and then very cold and then very hot and then very cold. It's just how it is. But I count on him to make big clutch shots when it really matters. He will. He has had a weird couple of games. Friday and Saturday have not been good to him in some ways. He has gone so ice cold at times, and people are turning on him. And I don't agree with that. People are also turning on OG Anunoby, and I don't understand that at all. The man is playing great right now. It's just y'all are idiots that think he's not playing well. You don't understand basketball. OG's playing well. He looks clumsy. He looks clunky. He looks awkward. Yes, but that's just the way he plays. That's just who he is. and accept them for that, because he does have good success and he's doing a lot of good things out there. These guys can't be absolute perfect. Y'all think that these guys are going to just be perfect basketball players every single game, night in, night out? You're fucking crazy. Is anybody coming to your job and looking at you and how you're doing your job and telling you if you're doing everything absolutely perfect on your job? No. So please stop doing this to our guys. It's unnecessary noise. Anybody who thinks they're a basketball critique and they're like, oh, I'm going to critique each one's game and say, well, they didn't do this and this. Just fucking stop, because you don't play basketball in the NBA. You have no idea how hard it is. You have no idea what they have to do what they do to be successful. And it's kind of insulting. I know that they feel like that when they hear people that have no idea, got nowhere near that level of basketball, talking about how they could do this or do that better, or this like nitpicking now, especially when they had a pretty good game and on the down low, and this person's just an idiot and doesn't see it. So OG had a good game last night, guys. Anybody who's saying he didn't is wrong. He actually did a lot of good things for us last night, and he had a +4, 13 points, 9 rebounds, a steal and a block, 5 of 14. He could have shot better, sure. 3 of 6 from 3-point range, but he was pretty good actually on the down low, and he was doing good defensive stuff for us and stuff like that. Adrian is proud of the Raptors. We should just be proud of them and stop like criticizing, over criticizing them. I know Twitter is the worst for this. Twitter is absolutely the worst for this. All right, let me get through all the comments today. Good to see everybody's here and has a lot to say. Kareem saying, oh yeah, it's on site when I see Martin Tuesday, March 28th. 2023. See, Kareem's ready for you, Caleb Martin. You're coming up here to Toronto. Yeah, on site. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to speculate because I don't want to get Kareem in trouble, but I think that's bad if he's saying it's going to be on site. Yeah, when he sees you. Yeah. Logical. Salute everyone. Salute Mike. I see you dropped the second part of your two-way contract thing, and I will be watching it probably sometime tonight at some point. I got real busy this yesterday, obviously. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew from Cool Cat. Good to see you, Cool Cat, as always. Race Mode Daily. I still have to watch last night's game. Well, strap yourself in, Edmund, man. This is a crazy game. I'm not going to lie. It's very entertaining. You watch the scuffle and you tell me what you think about how suspension should go down and that whole thing with Caleb Martin. Very interesting incident, is very much worth a watch. It's an entertaining game, Edmund, and you'll be proud of the Raptors for how they handled themselves, even though they lost by 3 points. The fact that they got it down to 3 points because where they were at certain points in the game is absolutely outstanding. And it is really awesome. It's just we couldn't finish it. It would have been so epic if we had won the game somehow, some way at the very end, and we got the win because that, like I said, that's a scheduled loss. They wanted us to lose that game because they wouldn't have scheduled a back-to-back with Brooklyn like that if they didn't want us to lose that game in Miami for sure. So that would have been awesome. That's how overpowering we are, that we can almost come back against a scheduled loss, against shitty refs, against an unfair ejection, against all this different stuff, and still almost win the damn game. That is how badass we are and stuff like that. I love that so much. A fun guy saying, I really do not like the Heat now. I don't like them either. I don't like how cocky their shooters are. Their shooters in particular, Tyler Herro, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson. These guys are all goofy dudes. I like Jimmy and Kyle. They're the only two guys on that team I really like. And I'm not a big fan of Bam either. He's kind of an idiot and stuff like that. I don't think that Bam and Kyle totally get along. There were some body language things last night that were telling to me about the relationship between Lowry and Adebayo. And I think that's part of the reason why Miami has a little bit of dysfunction. Is I think Kyle rubs Bam the wrong way a little bit. I see those little bit of dumpster fire flickers in different places sometimes. But yeah, really disappointing. Heat culture is gross. Somebody was saying, Eric Kareen tweeted that people were yelling at the Raptors team last night from the stands, go back to your socialist country. Idiots. And there's no way there was 100% capacity at that game last night. You saw the empty seats. They just put it on the box score that they had 100% capacity. That's bullshit. They maybe had like 60 to 70% capacity in that game last night at the most. Oh man, crazy. Yeah, I don't like him either. Logical doesn't like him and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't like him. Fun guy saying Koloko was being a nice kid, just giving him a hug because if you stand over someone like that, you deserve to get knocked out. You really do. I don't understand. That says a lot about Caleb Martin that he's a hair trigger with his temper. That he can get that mad that quick. You have emotional problems, Caleb Martin. You may need psychological counseling. You may need to be suspended for a little bit so they can evaluate your brain and see why the fuck are you a knucklehead and why would you do that to this young man who just came to the NBA? This is his third game. Well, I think that Koloko has some sort of impact in this game that he's getting people pissed off this quick into his NBA career. His first ejection. He's getting a lot of interesting stuff thrown into the deep end of the NBA right away as a rookie right now. He really is. It's, he can say that now. I've been thrown out of an NBA game, but he was not rightfully thrown out. That's for sure. Good morning, Monique. Always good to see you here. Cool Cat saying I was being partial to Heat's team due to our growth. Caleb went after our rookie Scotty, and now going after Koloko. Yeah. Yeah, listen, I like some things about the Miami Heat. I respect their franchise because they've had a very good franchise for a long time. I respect their coach. I love Kyle Lowry. I like Jimmy Butler, but I hate the rest of them. I hate the rest of that team. I don't like Udonis Haslam. I don't like any of the rest of them. I think that they're full of shit. And I think that we need to fuck them up tomorrow night just because of what happened last night. Yeah. G saying Raptors are treated so horribly. I hope this doesn't discourage them. No, this emboldens us. This is the part of the thing. Fred's been treated so horribly his whole life, like before the NBA, whether it was in college, whether it was in high school, wherever. Fred has always been poo-pooed on, disrespected, maligned, talked down to, always underestimated, and he's just used to this. So him as a leader, he brings that to the rest of them. I don't think Precious was dismayed, and that he was kind of laughing about the whole thing after the game last night. He's kind of like, yeah, come and punk us. So see, I think they were emboldened in some ways. Maybe they felt like, well, if this happens, well, we see we got each other's backs. Maybe we see that, like, these guys are idiots. In some ways, we kept calm, cool, collected. And Caleb Martin lost his shit. And he looks like an idiot in all this. They say whoever loses their temper first loses. And Caleb Martin lost his temper. Koloko was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So look, we can look at this a lot of different ways. This was a scheduled loss. Who cares? They fucking mistreat us. That's why when we overcome things and win and do everything right and make it and end up winning Larry O'Brien's, that's why it's all the sweeter, because we know we had to go the long, hard route compared to everybody else. Celtics will have an easy route to try and get to a championship because they'll lay the red carpet out for them in every kind of way they can to help them. Well, we have the opposite. They take the red carpet away from us and they pour tacks all over the floor for us to walk towards a championship. Well, who do you think is more battle tested and more determined if they have to go through stuff like that? I don't think the Raptors get discouraged. I think that they understand this is the course of the golf course. This is the lay of the land. This is what they just have to go through to do what they have to do. And in some ways, that makes them more badass and more awesome than any other NBA team in this league, that they have to overcome that much. And they are so successful still. So yeah, we go ahead and lose these 2 games in a row. Let's get like 5 in a row after this, be like 6-2 and be like, fuck the rest of the NBA. Y'all can give some feel good wins to the Brooklyn Nets and Miami Heat by fucking up our schedule and giving us crazy shit and crazy refs. Well, we'll overcome all that in the end. And watch, we're going to win a lot of games very soon, starting tomorrow night. Starting tomorrow night, we're going to get that next win. Oh, yeah. Let's see. G saying, or Monique saying, tomorrow will be super different. Watch. I hope so. I hope we bring a real attitude of payback. And like, seriously, there should be receipts given. I know we talked about this. Receipts are given on the secret and on the down low, and sometimes in mysterious ways. And I'm really hoping some receipts are given. It may not be in this game tomorrow because Caleb may not be able to play tomorrow, but it will be when we play him next. It will be when we play him next. Oh, yeah, I will. G saying, what a coward, always going after rookies. I know. It does seem like he's targeted our rookies twice. I wonder if Spoelstra tells him to do this. After the game, he's like, I'm so disappointed in Caleb for doing this and stuff like that. But also, are you, Eric? maybe you fester this kind of like fucked up, culture of win at any cost, even if you're doing fucked up shit like this. Who knows? You may have encouraged this in some ways with the way your team operates, because that is, I don't know. Fuck the Martin twins. Fuck them. Fuck any of these twins. I mean, Champagne twins, you're okay right now. But y'all are probably goons too. I don't know. Maybe you are. It's just twins are goons. Fucking Morrises, fucking Lopez's, fucking Martins, fucking goons. Yeah. Cool Cat saying also Bam was grabbing on Pascal's jersey, like trying to cause a stir. Koloko was lurking nearby. Pascal looking at Bam. Yeah, Pascal and Bam had a little back and forth there, and Pascal wasn't backing down, and Koloko was right there to protect his buddy from his hometown for sure. Yeah, I didn't like that either. Bam's a punk too, and stuff like that. Listen, this is crazy, because in some ways I thought, oh, Heat and the Raptors really like each other. There was so much palling around at the beginning of the game, and smiles and happiness, maybe mostly because of Kyle and us. But also at the same time, I was like, okay, well, are we all friends? It seems like we have a very friendly relationship. Kyle's over talking to our coaches and hanging out with Nick Nurse and Nate Bjorkgren and palling around with them in the middle of the game. I'm like, wow, we have such good fun feelings between the Miami Heat and the Raptors tonight. It's such a family affair with Kyle and the Raptors. Well, we hate them. And I don't know. They probably do hate us. Yeah, Caleb at least hates Koloko for some reason. Oh my gosh. Very much a coward. Very much a coward, G. I agree. Caleb Martin, you're a coward, and you are a scared little boy. That's what you showed us. You're a scared little boy. You're scared of a 7-foot man that can out rebound you. And that's the whole reason why you got frustrated and did everything you did in that situation. You're a scared little man who got scared because a giant man is better than you. And he just got in the league too. All right, let's see. Cool Cat saying also, oh yeah, I read that one. Raymond saying, why didn't Bo play? I don't know. He hasn't been playing Wancho the last couple games. I think I want him to play every game. I was so happy Malachi got out there. In fact, I really thought hard about putting Malachi as one of my 3 stars last night, but I decided he didn't do enough. But he did hit 2 big threes, and I was so cheering for him. When I saw him getting up to go get into the game, I was like, oh, yeah, bring on that Flynn sanity, baby. Let's see it happen now. This is your time to shine, Malachi. And he did. He came out and he hit that first 3 with the first shot he took, and I was like, yes, Malachi, you do this. You take your NBA career into your hands and show what you can do. I think what he did in the game last night warrants him to get to play some more and get some more time, Nick Nurse. So get Malachi out there. I'm with Eric Flynn at this point. Start playing these guys on the bench more. Eric Flynn may have been a little bit right last year. I hate to say it. He went about it the wrong way with how he said it, but he may be a little bit right about his criticism about you, Nick Nurse, that we do need to explore these bench guys and give them more time to develop in real-time situations. That Malachi was very poised and astute, and he did really well in the little bit of time he was out there in the second half. So I was really happy he got out there. Tom Duke saying Sproul needs to tone down his slickness, smuggest of them all. There were so many empty seats. There was nobody there. I'm like, who the fuck? Why? What the fuck is going on there? Obviously, people don't give a shit about the Heat. They really don't, because nobody was there and stuff like that. Now, I don't know. Spoelstra's weird. I mean, he's really smart. And the thing is, he could have on the down low an agenda of making Caleb Martin a goon against us. So we have 2 incidents to point to from last year and this year and stuff like that. Raymond saying, don't forget Miami last year even started fighting each other. That's right. Udonis Haslam was going to fight Jimmy Butler. That's right. Yeah, they're weird, man. They're weird. I don't know. They're very strange. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see them tomorrow. I'll do the preview tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be reporting some suspensions. Because seriously, I counted at least 3 Heat players that came off the bench in that little scuffle. And that they, if you do come a certain direction and to a certain proximity of the fight and you're not in the game, that is automatic. This is Ron Artest, Malice in the Palace rules. And this is so important. The NBA really enforces them. So you better be watching this today, Joe Dumars. You better be watching this, Kane Fitzgerald. And y'all better be handing down some suspensions in the right way for what happens by the rule books that you have. And don't poo-poo this shit just because it's us. Just because it's the Raptors, sweep it under the rug or do any of that kind of shit. Like this bullshit with your challenges. That was not a fucking, that challenge we had last night that they said no, it wasn't. That's bullshit. They can see with their own eyes that Fred did not move underneath Kyle. Kyle did this a veteran move to get Freddie in foul trouble. He was trying to get Fred in foul trouble. There's a reason why Fred had 5 fouls. It's because Kyle was luring him into getting fouls in different ways. And some of it was, that's actually in the rule book last year, is if you kick out your feet like that, that's supposed to be an offensive foul. Well, they were trying to say that was in his natural shooting motion, the way he kicked his feet forward, and Fred just happened to be underneath him. That's bullshit. Fred did not try to get underneath him, and that was the wrong call. And in fact, that was a very key call because that was the 5th foul on Fred. And that's crazy that he played the whole rest of the game without getting another one. But also, maybe he was getting a little favor because they fucked up and threw out our rookie. Stuff like that. Who knows? It's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. G saying, let's see if they actually suspend the bench for stuff or look away as usual. Didn't Doc cross the line with no technical? Yeah, there's a lot of this stuff. We'll see. We'll see. And we'll know, and we'll keep track of it, and we'll say, yeah, you guys probably should have suspended some of the bench players. Now, like I said, Eric Spoelstra in his interview after the game was saying, I think we did a good job keeping guys off the bench, on the bench. So he's kind of like already doing kind of like a little bit of a information front on that to say that this is his stance, that they didn't leave the bench and stuff like that. He's already trying to say that. Well, that's not for you to determine. Let's let the officials in the league office and the referees determine whether they did or not. And I thought they were going to do it right then because they were taking so damn long, but they didn't. They didn't do that. And I was like saying, if they throw Koloko out too, this is fucking rigged and it's bullshit. Because the only person who should have got thrown out was Caleb Martin. And everybody knows that. And everybody can see that. Everybody can see that. I think non-fans that aren't Raptors or Heat fans, if they're impartial fans, like we have Random Gamer in here, he could tell us whether he thinks Koloko should have got thrown out last night. We'll get an impartial fan to rule on this because we obviously think he shouldn't have. And I bet Miami Heat fans perfectly fine with him getting thrown out. So I'd like an impartial fan of another team to come in and rule on this for us. If we have any here today, please say something in the chat and tell me if you think Christian Koloko should have been ejected from the game last night. I don't think so. Not me personally. All right, let's see. Kareem saying Tyler Herro has now become a villain. I hope Precious knees him in the chest while throwing down the dunk of the year. That bitch too small. he's like, this is what Precious did to him. Precious burned him better. I mean, Tyler Herro is overrated. They overpaid for him. In fact, that contract is going to look real bad in a couple years from now. They're going to be like, why the fuck did we give him so much money? He's just a role player. He's not that good and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm with this. I've always not liked Tyler Herro. I think that he's somebody who gets way more shine in the NBA than he should for who he is as a player. He gets push up for certain reasons. I mean, they're obvious, some of them. I hate it. And yeah, I never liked him, but Martin's number one villain on my list for sure. G saying he could have hurt his back if Koloko landed badly on the edge of the chair. Of course. This is messing around with $1 million players in the league. This is messing around with a guy's career. Like, what if he had a spinal injury, God forbid, and something really fucked up happened because of some stupid, crazy ass WWE shit? This fucking immature little shit did because he lost his temper. What if something bad had happened like that? They would have had to have made an example out of him then. If he did some bullshit like D'Lo Brown did the draws in a wrestling ring. Yeah. G saying he could have hurt his back. Yeah. I'm a fun guy saying even Fred, I'm pretty sure would beat the crap out of Martin. Oh yeah, Fred could beat his ass. Freddie's tough. Just because he's a little guy doesn't mean he can't go. Oh, I'll bet you he can go. He's strong as fuck. In fact, sometimes those little guys like Taz and wrestling, you don't want to fuck with them because they're real round and little and you can't get a grab on them and they're just coming at you up from under. They're coming up from under and one uppercut, boom, you're out. It's like that, So I would say, yeah, I would pick him in that fight too. Caleb Martin's a pretender, man. He's a fake tough guy. I think that if he actually got in any beef with any of our 6'9" guys, he would be very scared. I don't think he'd fight Scotty. I don't think he'd fight Precious. No, I don't think he would. I don't think he would even try and fight Thad or anybody like that either. Stuff like that. So Monique saying, love the Koloko interview with Lindsey Dunn, the right answers. He's being so smart. He's just very smart, intelligent young man, and he's not taking the bait. And the egg is all over the Heat's face for this stupid incident, stuff like that. We really carried ourselves well in that situation. I love seeing the guys supporting him and getting over there quickly. Gary, Fred, those guys got over there quick and got in the middle of it to try and help Christian and stuff like that. Because that dude did that. He could have just easily jumped on him and started hitting him in the face. Christian doesn't know if this dude's going to hit him when he's standing over him like that. You got to do what you got to do. Shit, I wouldn't have, blamed Christian for kicking him in the nuts in that moment. If he just brought his leg up and just kicked him right in the nuts when he's standing over him. In fact, I might have done that. I would have just squarely kicked you right in the nuts. Yeah, that's what I would have done, maybe. Oh, you going to stand over me? Bam! No little Martins. All right, let's keep going. Dragic. Yeah, he's at level Dragic hate. He's at Dragic hate at this moment for me. Yeah, I bet they do nothing to Caleb. I hope that's not right, G, but we'll see. We don't want to get mad even if they don't. This is the kind of thing where you got to be just like them on the court. They don't get foul calls. They don't calls. Just keep on going. It's like, yeah, the NBA is going to be the NBA and do this kind of bullshit. They're not going to help us or treat us fairly like the rest of the league. Well, that's just the MO. That's just the way it goes. And we just got to keep going. So maybe we need to do that also as fans. If this happens, what you're saying, G, that they do not do any punishments or do anything about this incident, then maybe we just need to turn the other cheek, say, all right, so be it. Now you will pay for it in blood. Because once again, everything in this world, the basic tenements of being happy in this world is understanding what you can and can't control. You can only control what you say and what you do in your life. And when you are basing your happiness on somebody doing something that you hope they would do or that you expect them to do or is the right thing to do, you will always be disappointed. Trust me. So always just take control and the bull by the horns in your life by saying, I don't give a shit. I'm going to just worry about myself and say this and this. And I can't control whether the NBA is going to suspend anybody from this incident last night. So I'm not going to get upset about it either way. I'm going to hope they do it. I'll be disappointed that they didn't. But you know what? Move on. That's all we can do. It's like the next game's tomorrow. And that's where we can get some good feeling from it. Yeah, by beating their ass down, winning a good game, and maybe there's some receipts in the game. Maybe, who knows? That would be nice. Raymond's saying refs need to start being fined for missing calls. I like that too. They should be fined or something. Or you know what happens to them, Raymond? They lose their jobs. Like if they have bad performances over and over again, they're just gone. They're just saying, look, you are not accurate with your calls. You can't ref anymore. You're being demoted to G League. Maybe you can figure it out and get back together. But that's kind of how it works. Is like if they're so bad, they go away. They just kind of go away over time and stuff like that. But that's the weird thing. They'll protect guys in some ways because if they're in the fraternity and the Philadelphia referee mafia, they'll protect them in certain ways and they'll stay around like Scott Foster and shit like that. But yeah, I think you're right. Maybe they should fine the referees for not doing well. Apparently, they make like $500,000 a year. So maybe some $1,000 fines could really make them kind of get their shit right, making them right. I'm just waiting for the Android cyborg computer refs that just don't have any bias and just call it straight up, clean cut, the way it's supposed to be called by the rules because it's a computer and it has no bias. And stuff like that. I'll be happy when that happens as a Raptor fan. G saying Boucher is back on Monday. I'm pretty sure he is. It's not completely for sure, but they're saying he should be. G saying, I really want to see Otto and how he helps off the bench. Yeah, I can't wait to see Otto Porter also. Tom Duke is praying for healthy Raptors. I like to see that. Cool Cat saying, I'm worried about Scotty. He already taken off. Why did Tyler have to run under him? Yeah, there's bullshit with that. I don't think that was necessarily Tyler that did that to him. He stepped really funny on his foot. He stepped on the side of his foot, and that's how he hurt himself. He was striding really long, and that move was incredible. It was kind of like a Dr. J, kind of George Irvin, like stretch your arm out as long as you can, extend, and just lay it in. And it was beautiful. And it's like the first new thing, but it really is he stepped on his foot the wrong way. He kind of stepped too long. His legs were too spread apart. and his ankle buckled under him, and he kind of flipped and he stepped on his side of his foot. And that's why he hurt himself. He's like one of the steps was on the side of his foot, and it kind of twisted his foot on the side. But he was holding his foot, his arch, and it wasn't really his ankle. So that is good in some ways. It could be that he just had a little bit of a foot sprain for a second and stuff like that. And they just held him out for precautionary. I think maybe it's possible he just shows up tomorrow and he's fine. Like, we may be very shocked and be like, wow, Scotty is playing. He's okay and stuff like that. I hope so. Summerlow's saying weird they get the back-to-back on their home court. Yeah, I like that, but I wish they were 2 nights in a row. The game yesterday should really been tonight. They should have given them a rest day, but there's probably scheduling. There's probably reason. There's probably some stupid ass Panthers game there or some shit, and that's why they can't play a basketball in there tonight. Or maybe there's a concert. Who knows? Maybe Justin Bieber is there or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, they should have had them 2 nights in a row, and they really should have been Sunday and Monday night. Because like this day off today, this will be good for them to rest and get time and stuff like that. Hopefully they have a really good practice today in Miami because they're not traveling. Maybe they're going to go to Scotty's family's house and have a big, huge meal with Scotty's grandma. And, that could be really cool. This is the kind of trip where they would do that because this is Scotty's hometown. And, they've done this in the past. When we're in Philadelphia, they would go to Kyle Lowry's house and have a big team meal at Kyle's house, at all the team together and play video games and stuff like that, ping pong. Well, they could do that with Scotty's family right now. Like maybe all the Raptors are going to go and get Scotty's grandma's good Jamaican cooking today and get some good oxtail and jerk chicken and all kinds of stuff like that. Because that's what he likes to do when he's in Miami. He likes to go to grandma's house and get her good home cooking from Jamaican home cooking and stuff like that. So that may be one of the things they do today. And it'd be cool if there's some open gym footage of it if they do that. But there's no guarantees. Who knows? But that is something that could be possibly happening today. Is a team meal at Scotty's family's house and stuff like that. Who knows? All right, let's see. Miami is dirty. They foul on every single play. It's like Jack said last night. They could call a foul on every single play. They just have to choose when they want to. We need to do the same kind of thing in some ways. We do that also as a team ourselves. But we get called for them a lot more often than they seem to and stuff like that. So I don't know. Miami is dirty and I hate them. I hate them so much. Let's see. Monique saying, don't we all, reference to Otto. We all want to see Otto Porter out there. He'll get there soon enough. I'll bet you will. Raymond Jacobs saying, I actually wanted Fred to foul out and Nurse to put Doughton in. But Malachi went in and I thought he was still injured. Flynn's threes were clutch. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. The Miami announcers are assholes. They got everybody's names wrong last night. They still don't know how to say OG's name, which is crazy. And a newbie. And this is the funniest thing. When Malachi came in, they called him Maliki. Maliki Flynn coming in. Maliki. Maliki. They called him Maliki. It's on the down low how they slight us. That they show that they don't even care about us enough to pronounce our names correctly. That this is really has been a way they do this. And you know what they were calling Koloko? They called him a loco. They were calling him a loco. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with the Miami announcer. He can't get our names right. He's not a very good professional. That's the thing, man. The one thing you do as you announce is announce the names. And if you don't know the names correctly, then you're not good at your job. That is just how it is. I'm sorry. This is what the announcers always took pride in this back in the day in the NBA. That you get a media guide, announcer guy, and you have the players' profiles for the team you're playing. I know I've seen these. I've been press. I know what they do for games. You get a media guide that has Toronto Raptors in here. And you know what they do? They have phonetic spelling of how to say the players' names in there. So you can say it correctly. So you jackasses are doing this on purpose. You know how to say Anunoby, you motherfucker. You know how to say Anunoby. You're just doing this shit to slight them and be little shits. I know you are. What the fuck is a Maliki? Have you ever heard somebody named Maliki in your goddamn life? Who's named Maliki? Do you know anybody named Maliki? Have you ever seen the name Malachi before? Obviously, you have not, Miami announcer. You're fucking idiots. And then what is this kaboom, kaboom, kaboom over and over again? You fucking idiots. Oh my gosh, Maliki. Seriously, they called him Maliki when he came in. Hilarious. Name was saying, bro, these refs. I know. That was the Howdy Doody show last night. Those refs were Howdy Doody show. because they didn't have any control. They were inexperienced and they sucked. They had horrible ref stuff all over the place, missing calls, making bad calls all over the fucking place last night. Tyler Ford, big F for you, big F for Jason Goebel, big F for Sayes Mehta. Yeah, you guys are all fucking Fs last night. L's for y'all. And horrible refing. And in fact, maybe they'll look at the game and see how badly y'all refed, and y'all may be in trouble with Joe Dumars. Maybe he'd be like, you guys lost total control of that game down there. You were horrible refs. And maybe he's coming down on them. I hope so. Maybe they do get in trouble for what happened. Another thing about the refs is they come out with these 2-minute reports from our first 2 games, and they did get a bunch of shit wrong. There are a bunch of travel calls they didn't call on Cleveland in the first game of the season. Well, we won anyway. Who cares? Yeah, they can go and look at the 2-minute report, Cleveland fans, and be like, oh, they didn't do this. Well, there were a lot of missed calls in y'all's favor that happened in the 2-minute report from our opening game. And then, all right, listen, the 2-minute report from the Brooklyn game. That strip by Fred was not a foul. They missed that call. They proved it in the 2-minute report. Well, we can't do anything about it afterwards. It's like DeMar DeRozan said yesterday. He's not Marty McFly. You all fuck up the calls in the game. It's not like anything gets changed or fixed. We can't go back in time. We don't have Doc Brown's car. So we can't fucking change it. So NBA, what the fuck are you going to do? You're just going to keep telling us you fucked up the calls and we're just going to think you're horrible at your job? Because you never get the calls right? That's what I'm saying. These 2-minute reports, y'all need to be perfect on those. Because that's the end of the game, and y'all are fucking up your calls left and right. And like DeMar said, that doesn't really help us because we lost this game. And you can go and say you were wrong and how you called it, but how does that do anything at this point? Oh, we were wrong. We're sorry. Well, can we get something for that, maybe? Is there something y'all can do for that? Do you keep us in favor in the future because you fucked up our calls? Maybe that would be nice. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Bro, these refs. And there you go. I just went off on you just saying, bro, these refs, and just did that whole little spiel there. Let's see. Nameless is saying, best game I've seen Precious play. They did that to Koloko on purpose because he was frustrating him. Yeah, Caleb Martin did that on purpose. And that's not a trade I want to make as a Raptors coach. We lose 2 players and they're losing Caleb Martin. He is a starter. We have to say that. But I would much rather have Koloko out there for the things that he does. That he's a much more impactful player in certain ways on the court. And it could be Spoelstra's like, man, they have Koloko now. He's a new weapon. He's a shot blocker. Get him out of the game, Caleb. Some bullshit like that. He's like, well, they have rim protection when Koloko's out there. We don't want them to have rim protection. Get him out of the game, Caleb. Some stupid shit like that. They could have targeted him just because of that kind of shit and stuff like that. It is crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, I was really impressed with Precious, keeping it on a positive tip. Precious, you go, man. You're a badass. He said, well, I'm not letting them punk us. No, sir, I will not. And that little bit between him and Tyler Herro, y'all need to go see those clips because you'll see what I'm talking about. Tyler Herro talking shit and Precious talking shit right back to him. Oh, yeah. G saying, are the refs really going to be like this all season? Koloko is going to have a crazy year. If so, we'll make him tougher. Well, we'll just have to ride the wave and see, man. The refs have been really bad, the last 2 games in particular. The first game was okay. It was pretty even both ways. Well, these last 2 games were definitely ref hit jobs. And we were set up to fail. They wanted us to lose to Brooklyn on Friday night so that Brooklyn and the media can be hyped still. They lose, they go down 0-2. It's all kinds of dumpster fires for them. They needed good feelings on that team. And the same thing for Miami. If they had been 0-3 after the game last night, that's not good for the NBA and their narratives about which teams are the best teams in the East. That's not good for their narratives about wanting to push these 2 teams as teams that they put on TV all the time if they suck. They're both like 0 this by this point, like Philadelphia is right now. That's the thing. They got a dumpster fire with Philadelphia. They're probably trying to figure out how they can help Philadelphia win right now. Well, y'all lost to San Antonio on your home court last night, your latest horrible loss. And Joel Embiid, listen, he is not happy there. Philadelphia is a crazy dumpster fire already, and I thought they were going to be strong this season. Well, they're not. They're an absolute dumpster fire right away. Joel Embiid wants to be a Knick at this point. I'm pretty sure. That's what I'm hearing, that he's not happy with anything that's going on there, and he's grumbling, and he's upset, and he wants to leave. I think he's had enough of their bullshit. And so there's your process, Philly. You can do all the way to the process, get the process, and now the process hates you and wants to just leave, it seems like. So yeah, have real fun. I wish I hadn't picked y'all to be the second team in the East, because y'all are not going to do well this year if it continues to go this way like it has so far. Y'all lost to San Antonio in your own building. That team is supposed to be the worst team in the league. Let's just put it that way. You go, Yaka Pirtle. You're a badass. Yaka Pirtle. Yes. Woo. All right. Yeah, they did probably want Koloko out of the game. Scott B's here. Good to see Scott B this morning. Coco is the real deal. Look forward to watching him grow up as a Raptor. We needed that as a team. We aren't backing down from no one. And Martin lit a fire under us in the league, and they can't put it out. The league can't put it out. I think you're right. Sometimes Michael Jordan needed a little extra motivation. He'd make shit up, like somebody talked about his mama or something like that. Even though they didn't, he probably just made it up. Well, maybe we need that kind of fire because we get really pissed off because somebody did something wrong to one of our guys. And then we get pissed off and we're motivated and we go on a run and come back like that. Sure, it was that motivation, but it was also the refs gave us every single call after that. And I'm telling you, that's a makeup for fucking up by throwing him out. I'm telling you. But that's what I'm saying. We should carry this fire, this desire, this anger about what happened and channel it correctly tomorrow night against the Miami Heat in game 2 of this series with them right now. Because that's the best way to deal with it. That's the most constructive, healthiest way, is take it out on them on the court and beat their ass and win. That's right. Bully ball. Like Tom Duke said, let's bully ball them, because we were doing it very early in the game. Scotty was amazing the way he was bullying them. But it's really unfortunate he got hurt and then all the different things happened. But that did light a fire under us. When that fight happened, we changed. And we need to be that changed team again right from the start for tomorrow. Evelyn's saying, win or lose, I'm still loving and supporting my Raptors team. Yes, Raptor freak, Granny Evelyn, she's a real one. She don't turn her back on them. Some fans are probably like, oh, they're 1-2. They're horrible this year. In fact, I'm pissed at some of the twit heads right now. Doug Smith, Eric Kareen, Josh Lewenberg. The way y'all talked about the game last night, fuck you. You guys are not real. You're not Raptor fans. You're journalists. I get it. But I don't like the way that you talk about the Raptors or Raptor fans sometimes. It's very condescending. And fuck you, media journalist guys on Twitter. Blake Murphy, Josh Lewenberg, Doug Smith, you guys, fuck you. So some of your tweets last night, and I hated them. I hated the way you were talking about the game. I hated the way you talked about the team and the way you talked about Raptor fans last night. So fuck you guys. We love this team, and y'all need to understand that. And when you cover the team, come at a positive angle, because if you're writing for us, the audience, we want to hear positive things about our team. And I'm sick of you guys fucking being negative for no reason, just because of this kind of shit. That was a scheduled loss last night, Doug Smith. So don't act all crazy on your Twitter at the end of the game with what you're saying and shit like that. The Raptors did a good job, and they played their asses off and almost won against all odds. And that's what I'll say today. Nameless saying, gee, I really think we are going to see this all season. That's why analysts put us 8th. Bad refs can make the greatest teams look terrible, and that's what they're doing to us. I think you're right and you're wrong. I think there will be unfairness towards us. There always has been. But I think you're wrong, and this isn't going to be where we end up in 8th because of this. This, like I said, this may be the toughest back-to-back of our whole entire season. We're getting it out of the way. Like, our first games are very much games that are maybe the toughest stretch in a lot of other team seasons, but we're getting it right away. And that we're going to have cream puff times during our season. We're going to have really easy times during our season. In fact, our schedule will get nicer for travel and having days of rest. We have one of the best favorable ones for it. We're seeing the worst of it right now. So if we can win tomorrow night, we're at 2-2, and we weathered this 4-game series to start, that's good. That's a win right there. And that's very, very doable. Now, Philadelphia is a mess. You think we can't beat Philadelphia and Toronto, hopefully both games later this week, then we'll be looking in real good shape, considering what we went through as a gauntlet of games to start the season. So it's going to get easier just because the hard part of the season's right now. And listen, the refs are going to be the refs. We're going to see it both ways. Now, we can come down on them and talk shit about them and call them out for their bullshit, more and more, hopefully we will get more favor in certain ways. And maybe they will realize that, like, man, we're kind of shitting on the Raptors a little too much and shafting them a little bit too much. That maybe we need to even things out. Because I've seen that kind of behavior from NBA head office also. Because they're very sensitive to being fair and being viewed and perceived as being a fair league. Just ask Sue. When she writes them and says that they're fucking full of shit, she gets a form letter that says the NBA is very utmost esteem as far as being impartial and very fair league and fair officiating. Well, you want to walk that walk, you better do it. You're going to talk that talk, you better walk it. So that's what I'm saying, NBA. It'll get out of hand at a certain point if they're too biased against us, and they'll look bad and stuff like that. They want to look good, they want to look fair. So we'll call them out. We'll just call them on their shit, and hopefully that'll change things over time. Let's see how they officiate this game tomorrow night. Let's see how that goes and stuff like that. It may be a case by case basis by the ref crew. That my ref check every single preview of the game may be very important to look at for certain things like this. But I don't want to be negative nameless, because I don't think we should worry about us being lowered because of this, because we rise above all this kind of shit. We're still going to be as good as we think we are, and we can do this. It's just that these games were very much scheduled losses for us. Even the one in Brooklyn, they wanted us to lose. They gave us a ref hit job with James Capers, and they really wanted to shape it so that Kevin and Kyrie could win that game. And then it just set us up for the next day, because it's the turnaround. And Miami is very much a weak team in some ways. Now, they have veteran guile that will help them win close games. But if they're blown out a lot of nights, they can't win those games. And that's the thing. I could see them getting blown out by a lot of teams where they're not even in a position for Jimmy and Kyle to try and win the game with their veteran leadership and experience. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting season, but let's not be pessimistic about it and understand we're going to still get in our rightful place in the league and in the standings. And we can't control this once again. We can only control what we do. And we're going to do everything we can to win and stuff like that under the direction of Masai Ujiri and this team president and what we're doing and stuff. Logical saying, oh, by the way, I gave you that shout out, Lex and G. I took your advice. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Like I said, Mike, I'll watch your new one. It's an hour and a half I saw. So you did make it pretty long. But I'll watch it later today, probably. Scott B's agreeing with Nameless. I hope it isn't like that, guys. I hope that it isn't like this. And you might be right, but that's the thing. We can overcome that even too. I think we were so close to almost winning the game last night. We had just a couple of different things go a little bit better. That's the thing. We could be more efficient, making more free throws, not having too many turnovers, making more of our shots. There's all kinds of ways we can clean up how we're playing, and we're still right there almost winning these games that we lost the last two nights. There was no 10-point lead for these teams when they won. They were close. They were within 5 points both games. So we're right there. It's just that we got to do that little bit better of being efficient and not making mistakes so that it adds up to the whole formula of winning the game at the end. That they made 92% of their free throws last night. That's a difference. We made 60 something or something like that. That's a big difference right there in how we could have improved and won the game. We made 75%. They made 92% of their free throws. That's a difference right there. We clean that up. We do better at that. We win the game last night. Stuff like that. Let's see. Cool Cat saying NBA wants to make more money. Players want to make more money, but yet seems to be uncomfortable with team over the border. They are very uncomfortable with us. And part of the problem right now is America's getting more xenophobic because of Trump and because of MAGA and people being worried. So this is very anti everybody else and very America stuff. This is hard for us in that climate. Is that the America's getting more fucked up with divisiveness and being, really just ugly in different ways. And that may be part of the reason why there may seem like there's more discrimination against our team is that, there are different things like that and stuff like that. But the NBA's always done this to us. We know this. Monique's going to love our guys always. Yes, we got to love the Raptors no matter what. That's what we are. We're the Raptor Freak cult. And that's what we do. Paul B saying we tighten some things up, make a couple more shots. I truly believe once Otto is back and Boucher, some spacing help and an extra bucket here and there, and hopefully no more of these scoring droughts. This is what I'm going to say about the last two games. After both games, both teams have been very complimentary of us. They see the future. They see Scotty's new moves, his new bag. They see Koloko's presence all of a sudden. They know what we are and they're scared. And that's something like Kevin gave us so many compliments after the game once again. Steve Nash, Eric Spoelstra, they say good things about the Raptors because they are afraid of us to a degree. And that is part of it. So we've been getting good respect from both the teams that just beat us in the press conferences afterwards. The Raptors are very, very good and they do worry them, stuff like that. That's the thing. That's why, they can win by the skin of their teeth. They know that they're not going to be able to do that to us most games this season. In fact, these may be the only two games that Brooklyn and Miami beat us the whole entire season after this. I'm serious. And other fans can hear me say that and they may, what, you crazy? No, you may have just been lucky. I heard what Chev said about the Brooklyn game on Friday night, about how they were lucky and they got that by the skin of their teeth and they're fucked in the future when we actually are ready and we get them and stuff like that. And I think he's right that they may have got their gimmies in the last two nights with Brooklyn and Miami. And it's not going to be so easy to beat the Raptors for the rest of the year, starting tomorrow night with Miami game 2. And stuff like that. So, yeah, I think you're right, Paul. We tighten things up. We play more efficiently, make less mistakes. That is, in some ways, makes it so much easier for us to win. We overcome so much, our own mistakes, the referees, all the bullshit from the other team, and we still win consistently. So that's what we got to believe, because we really are super talented and we are overpowering in all kinds of different ways. It scares the shit out of them what Scotty's doing right now. It really, really does. And Koloko just being on our roster is very scary to the rest of the Eastern Conference. Trust me. It really, really is. Now, talking about Koloko for a second, there's something from Kevin Durant's press conference after the game on Friday. They were telling him that Koloko wears 35 and he wears Kevin's shoes because he's a big fan of him. And that that's why he wears 35. And when they told Kevin that, he smiled. And I saw Kevin look the happiest he's been in forever. I haven't seen Kevin smile like that and seem happy. It's crazy that he felt so touched by Koloko wearing 35 for him. Now, I want to talk about a scenario that is possible to very much happen. In fact, Masai Ujiri was talking to Sean Marks on Friday night. When Kevin Durant is eligible for being traded around January, it may very well possibly be that we do make a deal for him. That at that point, it may be that we do go get him and make something like the deal we were possibly going to do for him this summer. And that maybe Kevin understands that, this would be fun to play with Koloko and Scotty and these guys. And he understands this may still happen this season, because it very much could. That Kevin's not going to get moved until January, but it could be right around then that we may revisit this whole Kevin Durant trade talk. And we may actually do it, guys. I'm serious. I hate it. I hate to say it. And it may not be the right move, but there is a possibility that this could happen. And that would be really weird if Kevin showed up on our team in the second half of the season. And Koloko's giving him the number 35 and playing next to him, because he will give him that number. Or it may be that he can't because he's already got it for the year and Kevin's got to wear something else. I don't know the rules, but I'll bet you Koloko will just give him the number because he's his hero. But that's a scenario that's possible. I'm not saying that I want it. I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm just saying that is very much possible. And we need to be understanding that Kevin may be on the down low, like I'm licking my chops to be with these guys and seeing how they play and stuff like that. So M. Jones is here. Good to see M. Jones. From what I remember, the guy that fought with Koloko was the same guy that deliberately pushed our star rookie last year on that super fast break dunk. That guy is a piece of shit. And somebody has to get him soon. Yeah, I agree with everything M. Jones said here. I thought it was dirty when it happened last year. And a lot of people were saying, no, he didn't do anything dirty. Yeah, he did. He shoved him. And Scotty, we talked about it with him personally, like on Twitch. We said, Scotty, you know what Caleb did to you in that Miami game this year was dirty as fuck. And Scotty said, no, he didn't mean to hurt me or anything. He really believes that he didn't mean to hurt him. But you're wrong, Scotty. He did. And you just don't want to admit it, or maybe you're just trying to be positive or not make it something bigger than it is. You're just turning the other cheek and moving forward, much like when LeBron threw the ball at you, or much like Christian Koloko tried to do last night, even though he got in the middle of it. I understand you're trying to keep things positive, but don't get it twisted. We saw how he acted last night, and that informs our opinion of what he did last year to you. That he's a dirty player and he's fucked up. And I'm with M. Jones. Receipts need to be given, and then hopefully it won't be tomorrow night because he's not available to play because he's suspended. So we'll see. But the next time we play him and he's available, yeah, M. Jones, I'm on board with what you're saying here. Scott B saying only reason we finished that low would be because of obvious one-sided reffing. It's not the last two teams that beat the Raptors. It's the extra three guys they got on the floor. It's the extra three guys in the schedule, guys. It really is the schedule. The schedule makers. It's a scheduled loss, the game last night. That's just pure and truly it. They look at the turnaround from going from Brooklyn overnight to playing in Miami on Saturday, and that's a horrible back-to-back. It's an absolute horrible back-to-back and stuff like that. Now, the only way we finish that bad, and I don't want to talk this into existence, that's why I don't like being negative on this channel, would be if we have serious injuries this year. That's the only way we end up around 8th, guys. We're healthy and we're good and we're having good things. Not even the refs can hold us that far back because we'll do things right enough for them that they do have to actually call good calls for us because we listen to them. We're trying and stuff like that. Nameless is saying, we are leaving way too much way too late in the games, not a successful recipe for success. I know I don't like this playing from behind stuff that we do. We did it a lot last year also, and we need to stop doing that. But it does also show that we are really overpowering and we can do things very quickly, fast. But yeah, you're right. Too little, too late. And why do we even have to dig a hole for ourselves in the first place? That last part of the first half was really, really damaging for us. The second quarter was awful for us in the game last night. They outscored us 33-17. We couldn't buy a basket, and they got 33 points. They had 71 points at the half. We were keeping up with them in the first quarter, only behind by 5 points. But how the fuck did they get 38 points in the first quarter? That's fatigue. That's being tired and flat from traveling all night the night before. Right there and stuff like that. Cool Cat saying, now I have to go to the Heat game. I know Kyle knows how fans get in our arena when they feel folks are disrespectful. It jumped. Let me see here. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, it jumped a lot. Oh, wow. Okay, you guys are going off. I'm going to have to read everything. All right, don't do any more comments. So let me catch up, and then hopefully I won't go too long today because there is a lot. I'm going to make sure I get every one of you guys. Stuff like that. All right. Now that I have to go to the Heat game, I know Kyle knows how fans get in the arena when they feel folks are disrespectful to our players. Yeah, Caleb Martin's going to get booed for the rest of his career in Toronto, and he should. He really should from last night. Monique saying, Precious gets a big raise from me after last night. Happy about Chris Boucher, man. I'm hoping he plays tomorrow. We need him tomorrow. M. Jones is saying, at least we know now how Miami's going to be playing us from here on out. They have to play this way. They don't have enough big guys. They have to play dirty. They have to play scrappy. The way Spoelstra was talking about Strus's like defense last night, I'm like, fuck you. They're just playing dirty. It's not like he's a great defensive player or anything like that. In fact, we should have punished him more because he's easy to punish and score on. We didn't do that enough in some ways. Name was saying, I just need more consistency from OG on the offensive side of the ball. Yes and no. He's like an extra on that side. I mean, he's not going to be like a super scorer for us. He may on certain given nights, but not consistently. It really is his job to be a good defender and kind of be our defensive anchor and stuff like that. If he hits 3-pointers when he's open and do stuff like that, I know a lot of what people are mad about with OG is that he made a lot of moves in the paint that looked awkward as fuck. And it seemed like he was messing up and stuff. But you know what? He only had 1 turnover last night, guys. It's not like he was losing the ball. No, he had 0 turnovers, actually. He didn't have any turnovers. So it's not like he was losing the ball. It's just he was missing ugly shots. And people didn't like it. I mean, he was 5 for 14. So he missed 2 out of 3 shots for the most part. But he hit some key ones. And he kept going. I don't think OG was that bad last night, honestly. When I was looking at who to make the 3 stars for the game, he was in consideration. So my 3 stars are Precious. My second star is Fred. And he didn't even really score a lot, but he shot he did have a good plus minus. And he was that catalyst that kind of gave us that edge that came back and from the big deficit. As far as after the scuffle, he was really directing things and really was guiding us and stuff like that. But he didn't have a super impressive game. only 7 points. He only made that one corner three. I thought he made way more threes than that, but he was doing more near the basket. But he had a lot of assists, 10 assists, 3 steals, only 1 turnover. That is fantastic because a 10-to-1 assist to turnover ratio is really good. With 3 steals, that means 3 extra possessions. Freddie on the down low was really good, even though he only had 7 points last night. And my third star, I give it to Pascal, even though he wasn't super, super good like he was on Friday night. 23 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, -5. He didn't shoot perfect, 8 for 19, 7 of 8 at the free throw line, missed both his 3-pointers. So Pascal was not super good, but honestly, I didn't want to give it to anybody else otherwise because I didn't want to give it to Gary because he was too cold at times. I thought about giving it to Malachi or Maliki, but no, he didn't do enough. And then I was like, not OG. So Pascal. And I even thought about giving it to Scotty, but he wasn't in the game long enough. So 3 stars. Precious Achiuwa, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. That's for last night. All right, let's keep going. Nameless is saying, yeah, okay, I read that one. Raymond saying Koloko is our next Surge. Well, if he had punched him like Surge would have, that would have been fun in some ways. But I'm glad he didn't, because Surge probably would have punched the man like Caleb last night in that situation. Yeah. Fun guy saying we need our vets to pay Koloko's tech fines. I didn't even know. Does he get a tech fine? He gets a fine for getting thrown out? Maybe you're right. Maybe. Heck, maybe the team should just pay it. Because seriously, that's not his fault. Monique saying, good to see so much family members out for Scotty and sad to see they had him out like that. You know, it was really cool to see how many people were there for Scotty. He had a picture of all his family there with him before the game. And it's sad, like people said on Twitter last night, it's sad to see Scotty get hurt in front of his home crowd, in front of his family and stuff like that. And I'm sure they were worried and all this kind of stuff, but he'll be fine. I really do think he may actually play tomorrow. If not, he will definitely be ready for Philly on Wednesday. So I don't think he's going to be out or anything like that. I'll be shocked if he's out for any length of time. Seriously. So I don't think we should be worried too much. It sounds like he was feeling all right after the game. So Nameless saying, I rewatched highlights from our championship team. They were way better, bro. We have nobody like KAWHI. He was so good, better than Siakam even. Well, Siakam's not far from being like KAWHI, and also Scotty's not far from being like KAWHI. Seriously, like Scotty's already showing some real overpowering low post stuff. In fact, almost all of his shots in the last 2 games have been next to the basket. He's barely shooting out from the outside, and he's doing everything bullying down low. That is KAWHI kind of stuff. Give him time, Nameless. It's like Masai said, give him time to develop. And don't deny that Pascal Siakam is a bucket and he's unstoppable in this league. He is very much looking like Michael Jordan at times on the court, where he is unstoppable. He does the isolation breakdown dribble, and he's shooting right over guys. That is like Jordan kind of stuff, where they just can't stop him. He's just picking them apart. So, yeah, once again, we're a positive channel. We like to slant things in a positive way. There's enough negative stuff going on all over the place in Raptors world right now, and this is a haven, a beacon of hope, a place where we just keep it positive and stuff like that. So I don't like saying stuff like that we don't have anybody that's like that. You know, also it's only the 3rd game of the season. We got to give them a chance to get it up going and running after a few months and really see how they're gelling and how good they're playing at that time as far as off each other and hitting shots. It's real easy to go back and look at the championship run during the playoffs, and they were playing at a very high level. That's because they played all season and built it up to that point. We just started this journey. So you don't know how they'll look in April or May. They may look at a very high level by that point because of the reps, the time together, and they're playing very awesome with each other and stuff. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's forecast success instead of not being so positive about what's going on with them. Scott B saying, Nameless, I completely disagree with that statement. This team is way better, and I will take Scotty over KAWHI or Durant every day. That's what I'm talking about. That's a Raptor freak statement right there, Scott B. And I agree with you, Scott. I don't think we're better than them yet, but we have the potential to be. And we just need to allow the idea for it in our heads and let them develop and grow. Scotty could grow really fast this season. It may shock people. It may really much shock people just how overpowering and how much of a bucket he becomes, like a for sure bucket. around the basket and stuff like that. He could very much look like Kawhi by the end of the year, is what I'm saying. He's already showing signs of it in the first 3 games and stuff like that. So, nameless saying, the way Kawhi dominated games, we have nobody like that right now. Not even Scottie or Pascal to some degree. Well, give them time. That's what I just said. They could be like that. Pascal dominated the game in Brooklyn for the first 3 quarters. It was the end. Kyrie dominated the last quarter, and that's why they won. But he for sure was the best player in the first half of the Brooklyn game. And that's up against 2 of the best ever to play in the NBA. Don't discount Pascal for who he is. And don't discount the ability of Scottie Barnes to grow really quickly and become kind of what you're talking about. There's very few players in this league that are Kawhi. Kawhi is the only Kawhi. And there's not very many people that can be like Kawhi. But we have a couple players that can almost be like Kawhi. And not every team has players like that. And I think we do. I'm with Scott B on this for sure. Kenny saying we don't have our rotation yet. We're playing okay. Yeah, I agree with that too. Nameless is agreeing with you too. And that's something. It's like we don't have our feet under us. We're just starting the season. There's all kinds of different things going on that are factors that have to do with things. And like I said, scheduled loss last night. Scheduled loss. PM, good to see you. We're here every morning talking daily Raptor stuff, 9:30 a.m. live on YouTube, the Raptor Free channel. I hope you'll subscribe and join. You've obviously subscribed because you have stuff in here and stuff like that. That's awesome. Scott B saying, laugh out loud. Another ridiculous statement. Pascal is better than Kawhi and way less injury prone. And Scotty is 21. Watch the TV. What the fuck are you looking at? All right. Yeah. Let's not argue too much amongst each other. There is definitely a disagreement here between Scott B and Nameless. And I am with Scott B firmly on this. Nameless, I understand what you're saying. But this is like apples to oranges in some ways. And these guys could be just as important and overpowering and controlling of the game as Kawhi was. It's just in their own other way. And we have to allow for that. PM saying, I love your enthusiasm, bro. I always enjoy your hot takes. Well done. Appreciate it, PM, and respect. I can tell you're a Raptor freak too, and I hope you keep joining us. Tomorrow we'll be previewing the second Miami Heat game. Hopefully I'll be telling you guys about some suspensions coming down this afternoon for some of the things that happened last night. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Julian's here. Good morning, Julian. Good to see you. Nameless is saying Pascal's not better than Kawhi in 2019. I'm sorry, Scott. Well, that's true. I can agree with that. But listen, what we're saying is these guys can get to that kind of stuff for us as far as superstars carrying water and making baskets for us when it really counts. You don't think Pascal can go do that? He's been working on this so hard. He's gone through the years of failure and the hate from us from failing to get better and better and better. So that margin of error has gone shrunk. It's very similar to DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, think about his journey with the Raptors and how much he missed and how much he let us down and how much he tightened that up over the years to become the clutch player that he is now and doing the things he does. Is these last minute threes that he hit last year, that was part of his life's work over the whole career. And Pascal's on that journey. He's not the same player he was last year. He's a different player this year. He's that much a little bit better and a little bit more clutch and a little bit more dependable at carrying that water at the end of the game and being that exact bucket like Kawhi would be if he was here. He's getting closer to that. And you got to at least give him that respect. But nobody's exactly going to be Kawhi Leonard, obviously. But they can have the same kind of effect as far as taking over the game, scoring points when we need them in clutch situations, and being successful. Don't discount them for being able to do that. Both of them, Scotty and Pascal, for sure. Yeah, Raymond saying at Nameless, it wasn't all Kawhi. We had Marc Gasol killing it too. We would have won without Marc Gasol. We wouldn't have won without Kyle Lowry. We wouldn't have won without Fred VanVleet. We wouldn't have won without Pascal Siakam. We wouldn't have won with a lot of those guys. It's a team effort. And the U.S. too easily, conveniently forgets that Kawhi Leonard was not the only player on our team and the only reason why we won a championship. He is a big part of the reason, sure. But there was a team behind him. And has he had the same success in the Clippers since he left? Nah, he hasn't. But a lot of it has been because of injury. But it's also because he doesn't have as good as a team around him as he did in Toronto in 2019. So, yeah, let's not slide our Raptors in different ways by pushing Kawhi up higher than them. Sure, he's a great player. He's a fantastic player. We love Kawhi in a lot of ways. But let's not use him to slide our other guys that we have now. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. And it is true. We did lean on Kawhi. He was the man for us, for sure. There's nothing wrong with that. Scott B is saying, laugh out loud. This isn't 2019, and he 100% is. Even if the media and the NBA won't say it, if you're saying a franchise and you take Kawhi over Pascal, you're in trouble. Sorry. Now, see, I would agree with Scott B on that also. If I had to choose between the two of them at this point in their careers, I'd want Pascal. And some people would say, you're crazy. You don't want Kawhi right now? Well, there's a lot of risk with Kawhi and different things like that. And I don't know. I just love Pascal way more and stuff like that. Listen, we don't need to argue Pascal versus Kawhi. This is stupid. And Scott B is exactly right. This isn't 2019. We can't look back and just hold on to things. We got to stay present and move forward with what we're doing. We can't even stay as far back in the past as last night. We got to move forward, stay in the present moment, and keep moving forward. It's like, the more present we stay as people in our lives and the team stays in their lives, the better. You don't want to get ahead of yourself and stress and forecast failure or worry about things happening bad for you in the future. You want to just take it moment by moment in the moment and take each step and not get ahead of yourself. We can't get ahead of ourselves. We look at the schedule and you start thinking about all the games in a row in front of you, you get overwhelmed. So you really got to just take it day by day and stay present. That means not going way back in the future, not going to the future yesterday, and not worrying too much ahead either. Worry about what's next and go to that next step. And that's how you operate. You'll be fine. Stuff like that. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying, laugh out loud. Kawhi left Toronto the millisecond he could, so he can suck a dick. Raymond Jacob, tell us how you really feel. I mean, I don't disagree with that take either, but it was always going to be that way. I really hate this part with Scotty. He watched the Kawhi Leonard episode of him on Serge Ibaka's How Hungry Are You? And when Kawhi was talking about, Serge was trying to get him to stay. Remember, he said, "You gonna come to Carabana this summer? And I'll take you there. It'll be really good, and you'll stay with Toronto." He was really trying hard to get Kawhi to stay at that moment. You remember? Well, Kawhi said, "Well, when I come, when I come, you stop bothering me about staying or something like that." And he said something, and Scotty's said something like he never was gonna stay. And he laughed about it. And then he said, "I don't know why I'm laughing about that. And I don't know why you're laughing about that either, Scotty." And it could be that you're like, I don't know. I don't like what that says about like how you view the Kawhi thing with us and stuff like that. That you thought it was funny that he lied to Serge on How Hungry Are You? And said, "Yeah, I'll stay. Like if you do this and this." And he's like, he never wanted to stay. And he's like laughing about it. I'm like, Scotty, I don't like that you did that because I don't want you to be like Kawhi, is what I'm saying. Stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. But in that moment when he watched that and when Kawhi said that, he kind of laughed about it. And I was like, why are you laughing about Kawhi lying to us about staying? Is kind of what I was saying. Stuff like that. All right, let's keep going. Scott B loves Raymond for that. It's awesome. Nameless saying, "You're missing what I'm saying, Scott." That's okay, pal. Well, it's really just a useless argument. It really is in a lot of ways. It's a woulda, coulda, shoulda argument. Let's just be happy about who we have and believe in them and trust that they can be a superstar and take over games and take us home to W's. Because that's really what we're arguing here is, do we have anybody on our team like Kawhi at this point? I think we do. And Scott B does also. But you don't think we do. And that's fine. That's your opinion. And that's okay. Scott B saying, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do the whole back and forth with you guys, and that's all good." But I will say I am siding with Scott on this because he's doing the positive Raptor side of this, and we want to be positive. We want to be positive here. Raymond saying, "I do agree. We need solid closers still without shooters. First, second round exit. I'm afraid of that. I'm okay with a second round exit this year because that means we're better than we were last year. I want us to win the championship, obviously, but I do want us to win first, past the first round, at least. At least. We win the championship, that's awesome, stuff like that. Okay, name was saying, all I'm saying is we are never going to find that to Kawhi's degree unless we develop one. Well, that's what we're doing. Why can't Scotty be that? We're developing Scotty to be that. Can you see that, Nameless? Do you think that Scotty has enough tools and enough body type and everything about him to possibly kind of fill the shoes of a guy like Kawhi Leonard? Can you give us at least that you could see? I won't even say Pascal because I think Pascal's close to Kawhi already right now as far as developing towards that kind of player for our team. He's that almost right now. But could you say Scotty could be that very soon, like within the next 2 years? possibly if they develop him right and he gets really overpowering down low. That is all Kawhi is that kind of overpowering. And that's if you're saying it, unless we develop one, well, Scotty's the dude. Why not? Yeah. Scott B saying we have everything we need on this team, and we as a team will be the ones to defy logic this year because anyone who knows anything about basketball knows that we should be 3-0. They escaped execution. I love what Scott B is saying, even if it is a little delusional in the positive way. I'm with him. I'll be delusional with him in that way. I don't think we would have been 3-0. Like I said, schedule loss last night. We were going to lose that game last night, no matter what. The NBA set us up to and stuff like that. They did escape barely winning. That's what I'm saying. This odds were very much stacked against the Raptors in both games, Friday and Saturday night. And we came very close to winning both of them. So those teams won by the skin of their teeth in favorable situations for them to win. Very favorable for Miami last night and quite favorable for Brooklyn. That Brooklyn game, I would have loved to win that game, but they really didn't want us to win. The NBA head office did not want us to win and have that golden boy team that they want to push in the media be 0-2, especially to a team like the Raptors in the second game. They did not want that to happen, stuff like that. So let's see. All right, you guys, I'm not going to read any more about the Kawhi debate. Kawhi is not on our team anymore. I wish him well. I hope he's healthy this year, and the Clippers do very well in the Western Conference. But we got to stay present and stuff like that. So I'm going to skip this stuff. I would ask myself, holy, what am I smoking? Is that Kawhi? Okay. All right. Scott B's blah 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 blah. We win. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna skip all the back and forth with you guys. Scott B says Kawhi would be in a shirt cheering us on and eating Canada's free food. Yeah. You need somebody. We need somebody on his level. Well, we can see they can get there. They can get there. Just give them a sec. All right. You guys are just agree to disagree. It's all good. And Isaac Campbell's laughing about it. It's all good. Okay. So Nameless is coming around. He's not like it's a weird thing what you guys are going back and forth. I think it's a little bit semantics that you guys are just not totally agreeing on, and it's not really like a Kawhi debate. It really isn't stuff like that. I get what you guys are saying. I like that you guys are kind of coming together to agree in the end in a way. Logical saying, not gonna lie, I think you're going off on the Heat a little too hard. One guy did something, and that doesn't auto mean Twins or the Heat or goons. Not gonna lie, the Cavs fans said the same stuff about us. So Martin is the goon. Well, Martin is definitely a goon. I'm not. I don't think I'm going off too hard on this. You got to understand. I know Miami Heat culture very well. Growing up in Florida, I went to Florida State with a lot of Heat fans, and they're assholes. They're fucking assholes. They're toxic masculinity. They are fucking people you would like be that dude's a fucking asshole. So trust me, their fans are assholes. Their culture is very much full of assholes. So I think they're embodiment of some of that with their team. And I wouldn't put it past Spoelstra. He wants to game to get an advantage, to do some of the stuff that I'm saying earlier, as far as using Caleb Martin to do dirty hits on people and do things like that. I would not put past Eric Spoelstra. He wants to win at all costs. And he's in the same kind of guy like Kyle Lowry. They're birds of a feather. They will cheat and do whatever they can to get away with to win. Trust me, that's the way they think and stuff like that. As far as the Twins things, I'm just looking at a pattern. Both the Lopez brothers are goons. I hate them. They do goonish shit. Both the Morris brothers are goons. I hate them. They do dirty shit. And now the Martin twins, same thing and stuff like that. I'm just making a connection. Sure, it may not be a twin thing, stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I've noticed that these twins are goons, a lot of them. And the Martins, Caleb Martin, I don't know if you can defend him today. You cannot. There's nothing to defend about what he did. In fact, Spoelstra couldn't defend what he did. He said he was not proud of him, and he wishes he had not done that. He said that over and over again last night and stuff like that. Maybe he's saying it with a wink and like, I really did tell him to do that, but I don't know. Now, I know Cleveland fans are going to say that, but they're already irritated towards us because of the rookie of the year race with Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes, and they're crazy anyway. Listen, we got to realize Cleveland fan nation is like a loser nation. They've had so much losing with the Browns and the Indians and different teams over the years. The Cleveland fans is like a loser city. And they're like hurt people in some ways. And they're very hurt since that first game that we played against them. And sure, they can say we're goons and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with them calling us goons. And Miami is very much a goons team also. They're very much a goons team. They, like Jack said, they foul on almost every possession. Every time that the ball's around them, they're fouling people. So they could have fouls called on them all the time. It's just the refs won't do it for all the time, stopping the game and all that stuff like that. So they let a lot go that Miami does and stuff like that. So Nameless is saying not even Embiid or Giannis could bully Gasol or Ibaka. And nobody can really bully us either on the down low. We do have to have the right personnel out there all the time. Kem, Koloko, Precious. These guys are tough dudes, and we don't get bullied, really. We didn't get bullied last night. We stood up to them in that ugly situation. Scott B is saying, we'll take Coco, Boucher, Precious can definitely do that job. Don't see any Raptor backing down from anyone. Yeah, once again, I'm agreeing with Scott B on that we don't have guys. We have guys that can stand up to people. Like, I'm not worried about us being soft. There's been years where the Raptors were a soft team and they could get pushed around and we had no answer. I think about the Bargnani Bosch years in particular, that we had nothing. Like, we could get bullied then. That's not the case now. We are the guys who are the bullies at this point, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are infighting a lot today. I don't like that necessarily. All right. We can all agree Martin's a goon, I'd hope. Scott B saying, so you're saying Embiid somehow backed us down? Now you're just being silly. Okay, Raymond, I said Martin is the goon, but chill out painting anyone else with the same brush. Well, Tyler Herro was being a little like cocky and like being a poor sport, talking shit to Precious. And yeah, there's other guys on that team that there are very, yeah. We've got to go by the history of them also. There's a culture in Miami. You've got to understand. The culture goes all the way back to like the fights with the Heat. I mean, the fights with the Knicks in the 90s and stuff like that. There's a lot of culture there. Let's see. Curtis Mahedo, good to see you. I hope you'll come and join us more often. If Scotty didn't get injured, I really think we would have pulled off that comeback. I agree with this, Curtis. He has an energy about him, this winning energy. And when it was gone, they said it. The broadcast crew was like, man, we really feel Scotty's not presence in the game. And it did hurt us. And I think we could very well say this, much like Cavs fan were saying about the first game. If Darius didn't get hurt, we would have won this game. We can say the same thing. And that's valid because we don't know how much he would have impacted. He was scoring a point a minute for the most part when he started the game. He was playing really well. In fact, he may have started his best game so far this season last night before he had to leave the game. So who's to say? I would agree with this, Curtis, especially because it got down to only a 33-point margin by the end of the game. Scotty may have been the difference. I think you're right. Nameless is saying, no, I'm saying Nick Claxton bullies Koloko, Scott. That's what I'm saying. But please quit putting words in my mouth. Yeah, Claxton did bully Koloko to a degree in that game on Friday. And that's when we needed Boucher to kind of be in there instead of Koloko. Cool Cat saying Caleb Martin better get therapy if he wants a long career in the league. He don't want a negative reputation in the league. Kids are watching. Well, I mean, the NBA, do you care about good sportsmanship and being good role models for kids out there? Come down hard on Caleb Martin for being a very poor sport and doing something nobody should ever do on a basketball court. I played in all kinds of crazy games and pickup games in the South, in Florida, when I was young. I played all kinds of basketball when I was younger. I do actually play basketball, and I do know what I'm doing on a court. This isn't just me talking out of my ass. I'll never forget the day I was out on the blacktop when Alfred went to his car and got his gun. Yeah, I'll never forget that day. That's what I'm saying. People need to realize that the stuff they do on courts, on TV, if people do that on real life, somebody may go to the car and get their gun. And that was a scary day on the court. Nothing happened, thank God. Cooler heads prevailed. And I'm glad Alfred was on my team. Well, he was actually one of my teammates and one of my friends, but he was that angry that he went to the parking lot in the middle of our pickup game and he went and got his gun. And yeah, you never want to get to those kind of points because in real life, some people have guns at the pickup game. And when somebody tries to spear somebody or do something like that, then somebody gets shot and things get real ugly and sad. And that's what I'm saying. I don't like the way sportsmanship's going in basketball. Little kids are bouncing the ball off people's faces on inbounds. stuff like that. That's just cocky bullshit and wrong. NBA, you're the leading role model for culture in basketball as a sport and showing the good role model examples. So make an example of bad behavior and punish it, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want Alfred going to that car to get his gun. No, you don't. Alfred Dallas. He will get that gun, and you do not want that to happen. I will tell you that right now. Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame Alfred for what happened that day either. All right. Let's keep going. Scott B saying, I think Pascal, OG, Scotty, Fred, our whole fucking lineup showed that toughness. That have seen any team back up, down like that. Not sure what you're watching. Yeah. All right. We'll keep it off each other. Curtis is saying Christian should not have been ejected. Yeah, he sees it. He sees it himself. I agree with it. I think we all do. I'm just really frustrated at the moment, not so much of the team, but of the league and in-game treatment of our squad. It's horseshit. Welcome to being a Raptor freak. I mean, seriously, this is something I've been frustrated about for decades. The mistreatment and the bad calls for us, the unfairness. We all want a just world, but it is not a fair world. A lot of people don't have a fair start in how they got to accomplish things in their lives. They have to accomplish and do more to get further than some people have privilege, and it's easier for them. That's just the real world. Life isn't fair. So the Raptors know what they have to deal with, and that's why we are such badasses, because we go through the fire and go through worse than other teams. And that's for sure true, but that builds character and makes us even better. And that's what I'm saying. So let's look at it all and understand the challenge is more difficult for us. But that's why we're such badasses. And when we do succeed, it'll feel so much even better than another team, like winning a championship, stuff like that. That's why it'll feel so much better for us, because we know we really earned it. That's why whenever people sully the 2019 championship, they have to understand they never wanted us to get that. They did everything in their power to try and stop us, and we still fucking took it. And that's what we want to do again. And that's why we have to have this kind of mentality in the situation that we're in as a franchise, is we just need to be that much better than all of them. And this is like individuals in our society. They have to be that much better because the odds are stacked against them and they don't have the easy route and stuff like that. That's just how it is. And it sucks. It's not fair. And if you have a feeling of justice, you hate it, but you have to also accept that life isn't fair. That's just how it is. Monique saying yesterday was the NBA G League draft, and we drafted Devin Daniels. Okay, congratulations, NBA G League 905, Raptors 905. Here's a very interesting story for you guys today. Adam Silver said yesterday that he's interested in doing relegation. Do you guys know what relegation is? They use it in soccer leagues around the world, where they take the teams that are the worst teams in the league and they get kicked out and go to the lower league for a while. And then they bring another team in to take their place. This is what he wants to do to combat tanking. That he's hearing all the Victor sweepstakes talk this year, and he hates it. So he's seriously talking about implementing relegation, which means the bottom two teams in the league will get kicked out of the league for the year, and they'll maybe bring up 905 team, like G League teams, and put them in the league or something. Or maybe they have like franchises like Las Vegas and Seattle that jump in and take the spots of the teams that didn't do well enough. And the teams that didn't do well enough have to play in the G League or something like that. So very interesting talk coming from Adam Silver about possible ways he can deal with the tanking issues in the NBA. Relegation is a very interesting sports term. And if they really kind of look at this, would we see a scenario where the Raptors 905 are in the NBA because they're one of the best G League teams and they're taking one of the spots from one of the really shitty NBA teams that has been relegated down to the G League? Wouldn't that be fascinating? I don't know how they'd make it work with the big markets and the little markets and stuff like that. But just the fact that there's the grumblings of the word relegation around the NBA right now is very telling and very intriguing for a couple of different ways. It could be very good for the league in some ways. Very, very good for the league. And I'm very curious to see if Adam Silver is actually not just talking out of his ass and that he may actually do something about this. this. So very, very interesting stuff. Isaac Campbell saying Martin could have caused a fan to be hit, nearly did. The league needs to find this shit, not a good look. Yeah, they should punish him very good. Like, really look at this, Joe Dumars, seriously, and think about what you need to do. This isn't not the normal fight. There wasn't any punches thrown, but there was definitely a very aggressive physical move that was dangerous to not only our player, but also to the fans. And that there's no place for this, especially since the fight ended up in the stands, which is very reminiscent of Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, Indiana Pacers, Auburn Hills, Detroit Pistons, Malice in the Palace. Yeah, they were in the stands. He was in the stands fighting him. So punish him. They were fighting in the stands, technically. So there you go. I mean, they weren't. It was him, just him. It wasn't that Koloko was trying to fight him either. Raymond saying, guys, what about Birch's knee issues? Is he going to just be a part-time player? Is he not going to last? He'll be fine. He's going to figure it out. Let's think positive, Raymond Jacob. Let's meditate and send good healing energy to Ken Birch's knees as much as possible. He'll be fine. Trust me. He'll be okay. I know it seems like he's had a lot of injuries and stuff like that, but he'll get out there. He'll be okay. Let's just believe that he will. And hopefully that will be what happens. Nameless saying OG for Durant, get it done. Well, the deal was OG and Gary for Durant, and that may be the deal that happens in January. I do not know. It could happen very much. And we'll have to see. Scott B saying Raptors development will make Koloko a beast. Can't wait to see this kid by the playoffs. I'm excited. Yeah, I think Koloko is going to be very much growing on a fast track, especially since he's been thrown into the deep end, as they keep saying, as far as where he's playing and how much he's doing on the main roster already. Playing with the starters, playing important minutes, getting ejected from a game, stuff like that. Yeah. Nameless wants OG for Durant so bad. I don't want it so bad, but I could see where it is a realistic possibility. But like I said, I'd rather keep our guys. I was very firmly against the Durant sweepstakes this summer. You can go back and look. I have like maybe 3 or 4 streams that are centered around this saying, no, don't do it, Raptors. But I don't know. There's something about Kevin that he has a hunger, and he is that kind of KAWHI player that you've been talking about today, Nameless. That would be very intriguing. And we'll have to see where things are at that point when Kevin is able to be moved in January. That is when it would happen, if it's going to happen. But it may be, we got to see Brooklyn's how they're doing and whether they're all in on how they're trying to do stuff or they're trying to rebuild. And Kevin's just so pissed still, he wants to leave no matter what. Then they move him then. And it could happen. And like I said, it doesn't hurt that Masai was there Friday night and he was talking to Sean Marks. So they are maybe still little rumblings and talking about this and stuff like that. But once again, I don't want to sell OG out and say I want OG traded. I love OG. I want him on the Raptors forever. Same thing for Gary. But I can't, if things happen, they get traded. We can't do anything about that. I'll go along and trust with Masai at that point. But I never wish a trade for any of our Raptors. I don't want to see any of them go because I love them and I want them. I stand by our guys. That's part of what I do as a Raptor freak and stuff like that. Raymond saying, Nameless, yep, if any superstar wanted to play for the Raps, it would be Kevin. Oh, I'm sure he does, especially now that he knows his kid who loves him and looks up to him is playing as our rookie. He's really touched by that, and he may be like, I want to be with Koloko because Koloko really gets me. He honors me. He respects me in a place where a lot of people do not honor me or respect me right now. They think that I'm a problem and this kind of stuff. Well, this kid really likes me. I'd like to go play with him. Stuff like that. I'd like to go play with Scotty. I really like his game. It's as simple as that, you know? So, all right, let's keep going. Nameless is not a troll, Scott. He's actually pretty good Raptor freak, and I've really enjoyed him being here recently. I think you guys are just having a little bit of a difference of opinion today. Yeah, he's not a Celtics fan. He's not really. He's being a troll in that moment. Yeah. He's big time troll. He looks like Shrek. Okay, Isaac saying Birch played confident and shot without hesitating when he was playing. We need him healthy. Kem on the floor would help Nurse play deeper bench. Kem looked great the way he was moving in preseason. It's just that unfortunately he wasn't available at the beginning of the season. He's ready to play now. He didn't play last night again, but he was available. He could have played last night. He was dressed. He just didn't play. All right, let's see. Yeah, you know what, Scott? Just understand that he's being playful and a little bit being troll. Yeah, sure, but he is actually with us. He's kidding when he says he's a Celtics fan. He's not a Celtics fan. Raymond's saying, Lex, tip. Sometimes I copy paste the chat into Notepad. That way I can read the new comments and read the comments you're only on. Yeah, I keep it really close and stuff like that. But I don't know. A notepad. I don't use notepads like very quickly on my thing. I'm not very quick at that and stuff like that. Let's see. Okay, OG Van Barnes Jr. 43 is here and saying, "What up, the nameless?" I love the name OG Van Barnes Jr. There's a lot in there. I think you got the whole starting lineup. He's got OG Van Barnes Jr. 43. So he's got OG. He's got Van Vliet. He's got Scotty. He's got Gary Trent. He's got Pascal. Winning name, winning name. I love it. Scott B saying Koloko was my first star. He lit a fire that I think sparked an entire team. Looking forward to Monday. Yeah, I thought about doing something for him, but his stat line wasn't that impressive. He's really good at getting 1 point right now. I think he has 1 point in Brooklyn, 1 point in the Miami game, 2 rebounds. He didn't take any shots. He only had free throw attempts and didn't get any blocks or anything. Very empty stat line, but it was kind of like a figurehead like thing because of the fight and the spark, as you said, that he inspired our team towards and stuff like nameless. Dap. Just be nice, guys. Remember, we're on the same team. We're family and stuff like that. No reason to get on each other. Great talking about Nash last night, Lex. Who would have thought we would? Laugh out loud. Nash, talking about Nash. I don't know what we said about Nash. Nameless saying, man, oh man, 2 losses in a row got me miserable. Well, scheduled losses. And they expected us to feel this. Don't let the NBA win by getting sewered in your emotions about the 2 games recently. They want us to feel like this and have bad vibes, just like the Philadelphia 76ers. We don't have that. We're actually doing really good, and we're going to kick some ass tomorrow. That's what you got to believe. Think that way, Nameless. Curtis saying it's only 2 games in a row to get better. Trust me. See, Curtis is the voice of reason. Curtis, you are coming in strong as in your first stream with us today. I love what you're saying. You're being very positive, and please keep joining us. I really like your contribution today. Nameless saying, you're a Raptors freak when you feel like crap when the team loses. It doesn't feel like just a game for me on the inside. I know exactly how you feel. You can ask my ex-wife when we were married. She hated when the Raptors lost, and that time was still drinking, so I was very not fun to be around and stuff like that. She was really rooting for the Raptors because it would put me in a better mood. Is really why she was rooting for them, and it's true. I've handled my emotions better. I have to be this way. In fact, this channel has helped me. I'm not as angry about losses because I have to be part of the talking positive about it in the morning. Last season, I did this all year. We'd lose games, and I'd have to be the voice of reason instead of chicken littling, throwing the baby out of the bathwater, like with players saying, oh, trade Gary. Gary's this, Gary's that. Guys, stop overreacting so quickly to just one game. As I said, we have to have long-term perspective over the long haul and not just be so quick to react to just this one game, this. Now, if there's a pattern and it's getting out of control, yes, very much start chicken littling then. But I don't like chicken littling anyway. Like we could lose 10 games in a row and I'm still going to see the sunny side. And I'm going to be like talking us up and saying the most positive things to continue to push us in the right direction instead of the wrong direction. Because that's really what this channel's for. Because you can go anywhere else in Raptors fan nation and social media places, and you'll get the negative stuff. You'll get all that. That's not what we're doing here. We got to shine a light even when it's the darkest. And that's why this is part of what we do on this channel is stuff like that. So Nameless, I would say this. If the game's outcome really do sway you either positively or negatively in your life, after losses, do what Nick Nurse does. He doesn't talk about the game or think about the game for the rest of the night. In fact, he has it written in his contract that nobody other than the media people who ask him the questions after the game can come to him and talk to him after games. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. He's just not doing it because he doesn't want to sit in the emotions that you're talking about himself because he gets very upset. In fact, you could see Nick leave the court last night right when the game ended without shaking anybody's hands. He walked right out of there and he was pissed at those refs. In fact, I thought he was going to get tossed at some point because he was going off on them, and rightfully so, because they fucked up all kinds of calls even before the scuffle with Caleb Martin and Christian Koloko. So that's what I'm thinking. Nick Nurse does not talk about the game for the whole rest of the night. He gets some rest. And then he wakes up in the morning and he looks at it in a more unemotional state, a more clear headed state, instead of letting all those emotions build up in him the night after the game. This is very smart. In fact, he won't even talk on the way in. They'll come into the building and they'll be like, "Hey, coach, tough game last night." "Yeah, don't talk to me about it." He'll tell them that. It's written in his contract. Nobody can talk to him about the game until they get in the film room. And then they talk about the game with the team behind closed doors. Because he just doesn't want to build up more negative feelings like we do if we dwell on it and stuff like that. So be like Nick. Turn it off for the rest of the night. Go do something else that you enjoy in your life for the rest of the night. Go to bed if you can. If you're tired, just go to sleep and wake up with a fresh mind and rested so that you're not dwelling in it and making it much worse because you're emotionally feeling it. I totally get what you're saying. I am right there with you. I get that feeling. In fact, I had it a little bit last night, but I rationalized it and said, look, this is a scheduled loss. The NBA wanted us to lose this game, or they wouldn't have put it so closely to a Brooklyn game on a Friday night. They wanted us to lose this game. Trust me, they really did. So yeah, it's tough, Nameless. You're a real one. I can tell you really care. And that's good. That's the right thing. But know how to temper it and deal with it and do it like Nick. Like, I don't know if you guys knew that about Nick Nurse, that he will not talk about the game with anyone. He will not. Like, he won't do it. And when they do the cheer at the end of the game in the locker room where they all say Raptors, he's not stopping and nitpicking or coming and talking to the players and telling them anything about what they did in the game. Then he waits till the morning. He does it just before this. He did it already this morning, probably. All right, let's see. Guardian Transit saying Raptors game is intense. D. Boys need to get their act together and utilize lockdown more consistent basis. Bench guys need to come in with that mindset also. Caleb Martin should be getting suspended. Yeah, I agree with everything there. Yeah, the defense is on and off. We've had times where our defense is locked down and shut the water off and done very well. In fact, they did it a little bit last night late in the game. Now, we got to have that consistently. And that is really what they're going to talk about with them. It's like, get that really consistent defensive effort that is really effective for our defense. Because without it, we can't do it right. We need that defensive effort as the very bottom platform of what we do in games to be able to be successful. And when there's periods of time, like the first half of the game last night, where they're scoring 71 points, we're not putting in the right defensive effort because they're scoring. That's the easiest way to look at whether we're putting in the right defensive effort. Did the team score between 10 to 25 points in their quarter? Well, then maybe that's pretty good defensive effort because we held them down for that quarter. But if they're scoring 30 points or more, we did not play good defense that quarter. And that's what we need to do. We need to stop letting teams get 30-point quarters. That is a big problem. And we let the Heat score way too many first half points. If we'd limited their points in the first half, we probably would have won the game last night. They just got too many points early, and it was too much to overcome. Excuse me. Let's see. That's a great statement, Guardian Transit. Agree with it. And Scott B agrees with you also. Koloko should definitely not have been ejected, and Caleb Martin is lucky he's still a rookie because I think third-year Koloko, you may not make it out of the arena. Well, it's a learning experience. Koloko's learning fast. He's getting a lot of cool stuff to learn right away. Name was saying, I think we're developing maybe two Kawhis. I'm just being impatient is all. Okay, see, so Nameless actually does agree with us, and he does agree that Scotty could become like a Kawhi level. He's just being impatient. I think this is where we're just having different timelines of perspective. Nameless is really stuck with 2019 in some ways, but he's also doesn't really, he does see where it could happen down the road, but he wants it now. Okay, see, we're all friends here. That's what we got to do. David's here. Good to see David S. I agree. Too bad that he did knock that asshole's teeth out. Yeah, why not? Guardian Transit saying a little bit of concern over Scotty and having foot issues. Hopefully, this not to become ongoing issues. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, obviously, we don't want chronic injuries for any of our Raptors. That's why when we talk about injuries, I don't want to talk about like there's just an injury-prone person, OG. I don't like that. Because that's not totally true. You know, these guys can have health and good times happen to them. It's just kind of let's like wish it and will it into the world by not labeling them like Kem's an injury prone player.
Let's just hope that these guys stay away from injuries and just make it to the games, and then everything will work out. Excuse me. Shaking my head. You have an idea of certain Heat fans, but logically, the fan base makeup is similar on all teams, and there are toxic people and cool fans. No, I can honestly tell you this logical because I was on the ground with them. I know I had classes with them at university. I have not met a nice Miami Heat fan. I'm sorry, they don't exist. The nice basketball fans in Florida cheer for the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic fans are much nicer people. Heat people are all assholes. A lot of Miami people are just assholes in general. That whole section of Florida is full of a lot of assholes. Just trust me on this. I know. I hated going to Miami when I lived in Florida. I hate that city. A lot of people love that city because of the nightlife and the beach and shit. It's a bunch of assholes down there. And maybe I am painting a wide brush right now. There may be a couple of Heat fans that are okay. In fact, I think we had a Heat fan that came in the last couple weeks that was okay. And that's why I was so surprised. I was like, I've never had a Heat fan that wasn't toxic around me because they are very toxic and stuff like that. And it's okay. We can disagree on this, but that fan nation is actually one of the worst ones in the league. Like just for different things. Like you got to understand how they talk to other people on Twitter and the way that they say things and just how arrogant and cocky they are. They are super cocky people. Trust me, I talk to them in their face. I know exactly what they're like. But yeah, maybe there's a couple of nice ones. I don't know. Maybe there's a Granny Evelyn of the Heat Nation, the Heat Freak, that she's sweet, nice. Okay. But most of the vocal ones, the people that are out there putting themselves out as Heat fans, they're pieces of garbage. Trust me. In fact, they're probably celebrating what Caleb did last night. In fact, they're probably saying stuff like he should have hurt him. That is the way they are. I'm not lying. I don't have any respect for the Boston fan nation. I don't have any respect for Philly nation other than our friends that come in here, and I have no respect for Heat nation. Those are three of the most toxic, worst fan nations in the NBA. Trust me. The Heat are a great team. They're a great franchise. They have a good coach, but their fans suck. And that's as evidenced by them having a 50% capacity in the arena last night for a game on a Saturday that started at 8 o'clock. That should have been a full arena if they had good fans. They don't have good fans. Trust me. They're fair weather. They're assholes. They're overly critical. You should see how they're talking about Kyle Lowry right now. They're not respectful people. So I will stand on this hill and say you're wrong, even though you think I'm wrong on this. But yeah, there's a makeup of all ones, but I'll say their percentage of toxic is higher than good. Let's just put it that way. Maybe they're like 90% toxic and there's 10% of the Heat fans are cool people. That's really what I've learned from my real life experience living in Florida and going to university with a lot of Miami Heat fans. And this is way before they even won the championships with LeBron. This was in the mid 2000s. These guys were assholes already. Trust me. It was with Shaq. It was Shaq and Dwayne Wade time around then. Yeah, a little family drama on the show today. It is what it is. It is all right. Uncle Nameless showed up drunk again. That's no good, man. Don't do that. All right. Maybe I do need a lemonade. Let me see here. All right. David's laughing about it. Nameless saying, I really miss Birch so much. If we had him available, none of this crap happens. Yeah, they did him instead. I don't know. I like Birch playing. I wish he'd play more. And Boucher, hopefully he'll play tomorrow night. Rahul's saying, I will love Toronto to get either Shai or Jamal Murray as free agents or trades. Well, it'd be nice to have Canadians on the team, more Canadians. They're not Vision 6'9", though. That's what I will say. Monique saying Jamal Murray is my top choice if we ever get him. Okay. Two people that really want Jamal Murray. I'm okay with that. He would be not be a bad scorer. All right, Vinnie Mac's back, y'all. We had not seen Vince McMahon in a while. Whoa, man, oh man. 7'1" Koloko received a Goldberg spear last night. I know he is a rookie, but we don't want him getting pushed around like a sack of potatoes on the back of a truck going to the Mississippi. That is weirdly detailed there, Vinnie Mac. You know,
You're cool, man. Vince, you're weird, dude. Like, I wonder what you're doing in your retirement right now. What are you doing? Like, you have all this free time. You can't obsess about your company anymore. What are you doing out there? Are you making the world a better place? What are you doing with all this time? Are you taking up painting? I want to know what you're doing, Vince. This is insane. Everybody's wondering. You're gone now. You're not involved. You can't be a workaholic and sleep 1 hour a night anymore and stuff like that. Scott B saying, love your channel, Lex, and your take on the Raptors. That's why I've always been here and will always respect your guests as much as possible. And if I can, I will just enjoy your channel. Respect, Scott B. I appreciate that. And listen, like I said, there's certain people out there that just like to be funny and a little bit trollish. And that's who Nameless is. He's harmless. He's on our side. He means well. I really do know that. But in some ways, some people like to just get a rise out of people in some ways and stuff like that. Now, I don't condone what he's saying. And obviously, I am very much agreeing with you on a lot of what you're saying. But also, I don't mind Nameless. He's fun. And like I said, I think he has good intentions. He's just trying to be funny. Like, I've seen him in other spaces, and he can be very much more trollish. Trust me. He's being nice here. Like, I've seen him in other spaces, and he can very, very much troll with the best of them. Not that I want you to do that, Nameless. I like what you're doing here for the most part with your role. But yeah, I've seen you in other places, and he is some pretty funny stuff when he trolls other people, other nations, and stuff like that. He uses his powers for good. Let's just put it that way. Vinny's saying also, if I'm Koloko right now, I'm watching the Cobra Kai series to learn some moves to protect myself. Caleb Martin, no chance in hell. Yeah, somebody bring me a damn lemonade. Precious. Uh-oh, Tom Duke wants me to do an impression. Okay, all right, here we go. Impression. Koloko passing Lex you a drink. I don't know how to do that. Wait, what is it? You want me to Koloko passing me a drink? Okay, I don't know how to do that. I need 2 arms. I need another person here to like pass it to me. I don't know. Let me try this. Do it, Tom. That's a weird one to do. I'm trying to do it. It doesn't work. I like this. PM saying Miami sheet. Like they are the sheet. They are sheety. Raymond Jacobs going, let's get ready to rumble. Michael Buffer, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mohegan Sands Casino. Tonight we have a great main event for you. This quarter and number 1, like wearing the white trunks, we have. Let's get ready to rumble. Tom Duke saying Monday is going to be a beatdown if we're remotely healthy. We got some get back. Yeah, we don't want to lose 2 in a row to Miami like this. No, we don't. We have to win tomorrow night. Very, very important. Let's see. David saying, not sure if you talked about this. I didn't like the play where Kyle was shooting a 3 and Pascal contested it but jumped and fouled him. +1. Kyle and Jimmy were like giggling after the play. Yeah, well, you know what that was? That's a Kyle Lowry play that he did for us for many, many years, drawing the foul on the 3-point shot and still making it. The reason why they were laughing was Jimmy wanted to come over and lift Kyle off the ground, but Kyle was like, no, you don't. And he jumped up and didn't let him help him get up. He jumped up like real spry, and Jimmy was laughing at him for that. It wasn't really that they were laughing at us. They were just kind of enjoying their friendship. And it was Kyle like doing what Kyle does. And I have to respect him for that because he did bait Pascal into giving him the foul for the 4-point play. But then like he instead letting Jimmy let him help him up, he jumped up real quick. And he probably said something like, who's the old guy or something like that. And they were probably laughing about that. But it wasn't anything that was kind of like insidious or wrong for us and stuff like that. It was an interesting play. And I thought it was kind of funny too. I just thought it was really cool how Kyle was so spry. He could get up off the ground without he just jumped up and Jimmy was trying to kind of help him up. And that's kind of why they were laughing. It wasn't anything like wrong or anything like that. Tom, that wasn't, you know what? I don't know how to do that. Koloko giving me a lemonade and stuff like that. Here you go. I don't know how to do that. Blackhawks here. It's good to see Blackhawk. We always good to see Blackhawk check in. These teams are in playoff mode against us because they know Raptors play hard. I know. They're just by the skin of their teeth. I love what Chev said about Brooklyn. Seriously, he's right. They had to do everything right, and then they just barely won, and they even had to have help from the refs. They should be worried because we didn't even have our shit together. We're not even playing right, and we're still almost winning these games. That's the thing. All the odds are against us. We're playing like shit. We got all these different factors, and we still almost win the game. So things are going to get better. They're going to get better. This is really just a tough 2 games in a row. Really, really is. David is saying that makes me feel better. Initially, I wanted to run over his statue with a dump truck. You mean Kyle? Yeah, no, he really was all good love and vibes and stuff like. In fact, when he was getting in the middle of that scrum, the fight, he was in there very much trying to help and save and protect and not have any issues and stuff like that. Kyle's still one of us, and to a degree, it's a tough thing. It's a tough balance. I love that he fucks up and that Heat fans hate him too. So we got to take the good and the bad with him. We're glad he's not on our team anymore. Let's put it that way in some ways, because we don't have to put up with his bullshit and his ups and downs as he gets older. He's not going to be as quality as time goes on. Those intangibles will be there, but they count on him and he doesn't come through. And then all of a sudden everybody hates him. And that's very similar stuff that would happen with us on our team, but it happens more often now with them. That's why a lot of them are saying they want the Heat to just buy him out and have him go away. But he really is an undeniable leader on this team, and he is very helpful to that team. When you see them in the huddle, he's the one who's doing all the talking. In fact, you don't even see Spoelstra talk to a degree. It's like Kyle's being the coach in the middle of the game also and stuff like that. Word up, Blackhawk. All right, guys, I don't know. Let's not beat this over too much. Like, this is one game. It was a scheduled loss. Obviously, the NBA schedule makers penciled us in to get a loss on this game because they put us right after a Brooklyn game like this on a travel. When I saw this game on the schedule, I was like, that's the fucking worst game right there of the season. The Miami game, the first one after the night in Brooklyn. I knew this was going to be tough. And when they said that they got in at 4 a.m. and all this stuff, and I saw that we had 2 Miami refs ref in the game last night, and they did show home cooking for them in the first half and did all kinds of shady shit. Yeah, but then they fucked up and they threw out our center, Christian Koloko, and they had to make it up for the rest of the game. Hilarious. Blackhawk saying, love Kyle, but he is in Fred's house now. Yeah, it was hilarious. Like, that is so fun to see him palling around with Fred and me catching up and stuff and saying hi to everybody. And, a little bit of talking trash. I'll bet there was one going on like that. David's saying we won many scheduled losses last year. That's exactly true. I mean, that game in Denver was a scheduled loss the night after we played Phoenix. That was a scheduled loss that they wanted us to lose against Jokic in Denver on a back-to-back coming from Phoenix to Denver. We won that game. So we just didn't have the right makeup, and it was too early in the season to overcome a scheduled loss. But I agree, David. We do win scheduled losses, ones that the NBA schedule maker is like, yeah, the Raptors can't make this gauntlet or get through this. And even think about the 4 out of 5 games that we played last year because of the pandemic. We had some postponed games, and we had to play 4 games in 5 nights in some of those situations. That is a gauntlet that makes you think that's schedule losses. But we actually did very, very well when we had to play 4 games in 5 nights and won a good percentage of those games, even though they were all tightly packed and jammed together and stuff like that. So, yeah, growing pains still leads to more growing. Best losses ever. That's the way to think, Isaac Campbell. These were good losses because we learned stuff about our character. We learned stuff about our young rookie, Christian Koloko. We learned stuff about Scotty. This is the thing. These are good losses in some ways because they do that. I mean, I think we may have had a fire lit under our asses. Think about when Bobby Portis got in Pascal Siakam's face in that Milwaukee game and how our attitude changed and how we got out of a funk after losing to the Pistons and Orlando and some really shitty losses. Bobby Portis gets in Pascal's face, and all of a sudden we are playing way better. And that is kind of what happened. So thank you, Caleb Martin, to a degree, because you lit a fire under asses, and now we're motivated to fuck y'all up. Yeah. Monique's saying, let's go Raptors. Kill Martin. Kill Martin. Maybe we're a little barbaric, and maybe we need to dial back the rhetoric a little bit. But yeah. I hate Caleb Martin. I have to say that today. Nameless saying, you totally called that about last night's game exactly to a T. About the refs. Yeah, to a degree, I did. Davis loves the vibe from Monique. Cowboys saying good morning. Good morning, Bradley. Ta-da! For all your house renovation needs and cleaning and stuff like that. Call the brothers ta-da. They're in the phone book, 416. Nameless saying, Mo, I'm feeling a little better after the stream. We hashed it out like therapy. Honestly, Nameless is what we did last year, the whole season. So this is why, even if we lose, a lot of people don't want to come in and watch me after losses. It's crazy how many more people are there after a win watching, and how many people don't want to be here and feel the losses. But this is actually the best place to come after a loss, because I will really spin it in a way that'll make you feel better. And I did that all last season. And I feel like in some ways it was actually helpful for the energy around Raptors Nation for us to get over it quickly and move on to the next thing. Tomorrow, Miami Heat. We'll preview it tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. We'll do it again tomorrow. Yeah. So, yeah, this is exactly a good reason why to be here, Nameless. Because I really did. This happened a lot. And there were games where I was down, like you guys, and I would need somebody like G to pick me up. G would come in and he would say something like, well, listen, look at it this way from this perspective. So it's not always me that is bringing us back into a positive mindset about things that are happening with the Raptors. Sometimes it's you guys fixing it for me. And I love that. I love that when that happens and stuff like that. G was a really big positive person on this channel last year, and he helped me. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is one of the positives last night. We learned about Malichi. Malichi Flynn. Seriously, y'all, go watch the highlights on NBA and you'll see the Miami Heat announcers and how they called the game last night. You'll hear them call kaboom on every single three they made. And then when Malachi comes in, he calls him Malichi. Malichi Flynn. Oh my gosh, you have one job, announcer. Announce the names correctly. You have one job. You fail. Malichi. Malichi. Bradley, you like the little freakish that your guy Koloko got in last night, huh? Loco Koloko, let's go. That's right. Therapy sessions. And now, I'm sorry, Nameless, but our time has come. It's just at 2.5 hours. And I'm sorry, our session's over for today. I'll see you tomorrow. And no, please, no more speaking. The clock, yes, its time is up. I'm sorry. No more. Yes. Like I said, wasn't one of the Martin brothers in a mix-up with Champagny. This is not isolated. You also had Tyler taunting until Precious put it back on him. It was PJ Washington that got into the fight on Charlotte with Justin Champagny that time. It wasn't the other Martin brother, and I don't know if the other Martin brother is as goonish as Caleb, but he may be. I don't know. I haven't seen him enough. Vinny Mac saying, "I know you probably talked about this, but do you think the Raps will send a physical message to the Heat next game?" Well, Vince, you know from your profession and your realm of experience that receipts are given. Yes. In a match, if somebody potatoes someone by accident in a wrestling match, well, a receipt is given back, and that probably will happen, Vince. I think that there is very likely receipts will be given to Caleb Martin at some point. Very much so. Yeah, they need to be physical tomorrow for sure. Blackhawk, a Maliki Flynn from Southern Italy. Maliki, oh Maliki. Maliki. I showed Scotty that highlight, and if he heard that, he'd probably laugh. They called him Maliki. Scott B saying, I think the Raptors have sent a physical message in most games. We just got to hit shots. I think that's why they're worried and they're hitting out at us, is they're that scared. I think that it very much is the behavior of Caleb Martin, is that he's seeing the physicalness and he's scared. That's a scared little boy lashing out is what happened. All right, David saying, last year there was down one game and it was like, this Miami down by 37, Kyle for three, kaboom. I was like, down 37, kaboom. I know they say kaboom a lot on that channel with the Miami Heat announcers. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. Just real quick, I'll go over the box score just for a second. Siakam, my third star of the night, 8 for 19, 23 points. OG was okay. Don't be one of these people that's nitpicking OG right now or saying that we should trade him and not valuing him. Realize that he's like an iceberg. There's a huge part of what he does on the court that is hidden under the water. And it has a lot to do with his defense of intensity and the other stuff like that. It may not show up on the box score. Scotty Barnes, really unfortunate he got hurt, but he was having a fantastic game before that. 5 of 9 with 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 11 points in 13 minutes before he went out. Fred VanVleet, understatedly good. Really keying the comeback after the Koloko scuffle. 10 assists with 1 turnover is the thing I really like about Fred. And he was a +6 amidst all the crazy scoring and how much they were up above us. Fred was a +6 last night, and that says a lot. Gary had a hard night. It was tough. He was good and bad. He had 23 points, and we can't hate him for that. But he was 5 of 12 from 3, 7 of 18 overall. I wish it had gone more smoother than him, and he's much like OG. We need to protect him as Raptor freaks from the other Raptors fans in other spaces, from them slandering them. Stop slandering our guys after games. There's no reason to do that. Thad Young, getting a little bit of the hate off of him also, getting 4 points and a solid contribution off the bench. I thought that was great. But people are going to be nitpicky and say he's no good. And it's ridiculous. When I see Thad's wife defending him on Twitter from Raptor fans, it embarrasses me. Like, we should not have it to the point where the wife of one of our players is fighting with our own fans because they are talking slander about her husband. I hate that. Precious, best player of the game, 5 for 9, 2 3-pointers, 6 of 7 at the free throw line. Fantastic free throw shooting. All-around game. Best game by Precious so far. 11 rebounds and 18 points. He was a +16. And that whole mess last night, we were +16 when Precious was on the court. And that really says a lot about what he was doing. Koloko, you got thrown to the fire and you had a little scuffle. Not really a whole lot to talk about otherwise. Really love seeing Maliki Flynn come in and get 6 points off of 2 of 4 shooting at the 3-point line. He didn't make all of his threes, but he did make 2 of them, and he was a key part of the comeback in making up that 20-point deficit. Delano Banton didn't play hardly at all. Only 3 points. He hit 1 3-pointer. And that's it. It's too bad. They should have played him more. On the other side, it really was Jimmy Butler really kind of controlling the game and taking care of things. Kyle was also helpful. Bam wasn't that good, honestly. I thought Bam was kind of ineffective to a degree. And then Max Strus really helped them off the bench. Caleb Martin, you're a piece of shit. Fuck you. And that is how I'll end today's stream today. Yeah. Fuck you, Caleb Martin. There you go. Fred didn't hit a bucket, did he? He hit that 3 in the corner, and then he had like one other. He had 7 points. He didn't make a lot of points, so he wasn't that good. Blackhawks saying never trade OG, just encourage him more. I like that. Nameless saying I'm so proud of our resilience, and this is far from a finished product, for sure. David was saying last year there was that's one I already read. The fans were chanting "Let's go Heat" when they were up by 19. Clearly, they knew what was coming. I don't know why they were so upset. That's the other thing. They were up by like 20 points, and they got all chippy with the refs and got all prima donnas about the calls. I'm like, y'all are up fucking 20 points, but y'all are the ones at odds with the refs and arguing with them. We're not even doing that. And at that point, they kind of got a really weird energy in the building because the Heat were upset, even though they were up by 20. They were arguing with all the calls and getting in trouble with the referees. And then fucking Caleb Martin lost his cool when they're up by 20. That's so stupid. Maybe Spoelstra's going to tell them, don't do that ever again, because you give them motivation to come back from the deficit we built on them. So don't do that ever again. In some ways, maybe he did tell him that, stuff like that. David saying Thad changed the game for us. He came in and 4 possessions in a row, he took over. Yeah, we just need that. Listen, if we look ineffective or not what we're doing, Otto and Thad are guys we need to put in because they know what they're doing and stuff like that. We definitely need that for sure. Nameless saying, let's just consider the average age of our roster for a second. It's tough to trade OG because he embodies Raptors basketball. He represents what we all are all about. This is the thing. It's like we trade him, and you all will be shocked how much we miss him and what he does and stuff like that. Y'all will be very shocked, seriously. So let's not frivolously just talk him into trade talk and stuff like that. Practice, and more practice. And that's hopefully what their Sunday is today, Monique. And Blackhawks saying to piss off Miami, start Koloko on Monday. Woo, I like that thinking. If Scotty is not available, maybe that is the right idea, a Blackhawks. Start him right away. Yeah, I like that. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. If you like anything that I said today, please subscribe. I'm so close to getting close to 500. We're very, very close, and I appreciate the most recent subscriptions. You guys Thank you so much for joining the channel. And I hope you'll catch me live sometime so you can actually be here and interact with us also. All right. Thanks again, guys. And let's go Raptors. One day at a time. Stay present. Don't get too far ahead of ourselves. And let's not dwell on the past too much. Let's just stay present and take it and move it forward. We can't take back what happened last night. And we cannot control what the NBA does in light of what happened. We just need to go and do our best in each situation, and hopefully things will work out and we get the wins. So let's go Raptors. Let's show them something tomorrow. Receipts will be paid at some point, maybe starting tomorrow. All right, let's get it. Let's go Raptors. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.